DC Intergalactic Soul, the Honorable Brother, the Revolutionary yourself, Darius Lockhart, and I'm here to tell you to watch Powerbombshells every Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern on the Fight Game Media YouTube channel. That's right, every Sunday at 1 p.m., and that's on time, every time, because when we stand together, what time is it? That's right, it's nation time.
Wow, welcome to Powerbombshells 211. I'm Mel, that's Sam. It's just another day here on Powerbombshells NY, where we have wizard time problems. So we appreciate your patience. I don't even think it's technical anymore. I think it's too...
Yeah, today was not technical. Today was, well, I was already running a couple minutes late anyway. And then
existential.
And then it was just, not technical. It was user this time. It was user difficulty on my part.
Human error is a thing. That's all.
Yes.
And I wanted to tell you, so we had the Ruckus in Richmond 3 yesterday.
Nice.
And it was excellent. And we had a great house and a lot of fun. And one of the wrestlers that I was talking to, I mentioned, because I was talking about Powerbombshells and they were very excited. And I was like, do you know Darius Lockhart? And he was like, oh, yeah. And I was so hyped. And so I got to talking to him. And so maybe in the future, we might see some new CCW talent on the podcast. Cool. But it was super nice because I haven't seen those guys in a while because, my shoot job and shoot life have, as Sam knows, basically we started a new business in the middle of all of this last year. So, it's what it is. But I haven't seen a lot of those guys. So it was great to see them. I got to hug, got to see the cat daddy who we've seen. Lots of new faces and lots of people I have been watching for a while that are right. We have this dude, he's called Tachuk. And he does a chic-esque gimmick.
Oh,
and
nice.
He even does the flash paper. And for me, being the Detroit wrestling nerd that I am, that stuff goes huge. So him and Bob were having interacts yesterday, kayfabe interacts.
Oh, great.
It was excellent. Because he is both he's a heel, but he also likes to mess with the kids and he'll stare them down and so he did this thing yesterday where he actually took this tween kid that was sitting on the end and he just pulled him in his chair. And the kid was dumbfounded. And then when he realized what had happened, he just squealed. He was so happy. It was the greatest thing ever. He went off, chucked one off and did his thing. And the kid brought his chair back and was just the happiest kid in the building. And I was like, that is why we love indie wrestling.
Awesome. Yes.
It was brilliant. So well done, CCW. Well done, Green Time, sponsoring and putting the whole thing together. And thanks to the town of Richmond because they just let us use that space because it's all for charity.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, we could do wrestling.
Really great. So that's awesome. I'm glad you got to go, and you got to go to a show that benefits the community so much, and all that, and met some new people, and maybe have some new people for us to talk to. So that's very cool.
Yeah, it's nice. I'm hoping to get those Motor City Machine Guns back in town because they've worked with the CC Dubs and.
Yeah, I think it's that contract thing. They can't.
Oh, I'm sure. I mean, it might. They'll always be welcome here. So, although as we've discussed, there is the possibility since the timing is pretty much dead on where the Detroit shows show up that if they were going to, and if you wanted a guaranteed people freaking the F out on your television show,
they're part of the 90-day deal, so they can't do anything.
Yeah, but that's after the 90. It's right after.
Oh, there you go.
It's right at the end of July. It's the 29th and 30th, I believe.
Yeah, that's the AEW. That's what we were talking about last week, that seems to be. But now there may be, well, we'll talk about it. But yes,
there's a lot.
That's the plan or not the plan. That was the topic of conversation last week was that their 90 days will be up right at the Detroit shows for them. So definitely would be very smart, like you said, if you want guaranteed money or even not even don't announce it if you want the possibility of them showing up.
Oh no, you wouldn't have to announce it. The best part about that is that you could announce it and fill the place, and you could but you'll also probably fill the place without announcing it, because Detroit people like live sports.
Sure.
All of them.
Of course. Yeah.
So, I mean, and this is where like the Fed comes off. Like most of my friends that we got pre-sales and stuff, they're usually WWE watchers.
Right.
But they heard live pay-per-view or live television taping wrestling, and that was it. They didn't care, because they were talking to me afterwards, telling me how much they liked all the stuff that was going on in AEW, and how they still knew, there's this smattering of WWE talent that are, and obviously Mox.
Yeah.
The big one, because people loved him back
Yeah.
And so that's enough of a draw for a Detroit wrestling fan.
Yeah, for sure. And especially because they're doing two
venues.
Because they're doing 2 nights as well, because Collision will be live on that. Or no, I'm sorry. I think they're doing Collision is on that Thursday. I don't believe it's live. I don't know if it's a live episode or if I believe it's taped, because that weekend is Backlash. I mean, I'm sorry, not Backlash. Backlash is the next pay-per-view. It's the SummerSlam.
Okay, that's right.
Is that weekend. So I'm not sure. That's why I wasn't sure if Collision was taped on Thursday so it'll air on Saturday against that, or if it's going to be live in place of that. Because
my gosh, if they do live 2 nights in Detroit, it'll be fun.
Tony Khan decides when they're going to be against TNA on Thursday nights, not Warner Brothers.
Right. Wow.
Yeah,
Tony, no, it's. I mean, if they want to, we'll be just as hot Thursday as we would on. I mean, it's like Charlotte, Yeah. It'll be just as hot Thursday as it was on Wednesday, because it's wrestling, it's live, it's on television, it's those of us who like AEW are going to show out, and then just wrestling fans in this city show up for that stuff, because they want to be on TV and they want to wave their flags, and they want to, and they they end up liking it. They come back to me and they're like, "Holy crap, this guy and that guy," and I'm like, Kevin Knight got over huge with my wrestling buddies around town.
Who did you say?
Kevin Knight, of course. That I know that leads into. I know. That's why I said it, is because
that's our guy.
We walked away, and you and I obviously were on the Kevin Knight train early here at Powerbombshells. So we've always been on the Kevin Knight train because of New Japan and the whole thing. Mm-hmm. And so me watching other people discover him is always a delight.
Yeah.
And now
they're discovering him now, which will, he is one of our topics today. Mm-hmm. But they are discovering him now at a time where he is putting everything together, because you and I knew him obviously just being a really great wrestler, but now we're seeing the promo skills coming in and the charisma and his personality a lot more. So they're coming in at a time that's even more exciting than it was when we first started seeing him. And because I interviewed him 2 years ago now.
Right.
Can you look at that's insane of how much
interviewed him right.
Yeah,
we were so on the Kevin Knight hype train, because
I got to interview. Yeah, because that was two Boss Jays.
We need to reshare that.
I do. Yeah, I think that was 2 Boss Jays ago. Because he got added. It was his second Boss Jay. And then Kushida got added at the last minute because of an injury. And so he and I were talking about Kushida got announced 2 days before I interviewed him. And him and Kushida had gotten close on the last tour. And so we talked about that and just talked about all kinds of cool stuff. And then he shows up in AEW, I think not. It was really close after that, or really soon after that. And so
that's just wild. Crazy. Still is I've kind of been watching back. I've been back watching now for 10 years, and it's still amazing that it's I just saw that guy. The last time I saw him was in my hall or my gym, and now I'm seeing him at Madison Square Garden, at Toronto, at Chicago. It's crazy to me, and oh my God, I'm so happy for him, because he was so. You know who? We'll talk about him. I'll save my thoughts.
I know. I was like, do we just get into the Kevin Knight stuff now?
I don't know, man. I mean, we can switch it around if we want.
Well, we can go ahead. Let's talk about Kevin Knight now. We'll talk about it.
He reminds me a lot. It's just coming to me is like when Jay White started to transition and people started, because he was a young lion and he was an upstart and you could see that he was super talented. And then he started to hit that thing where he figured out what kind of wrestler he was. And Jay became, I mean, I know people have forgotten. I never forget Jay White out the Switchblade era.
It's never.
The Switchblade era.
I'm wearing my Juice shirt today because all of the Bang Bang Gang is back except Juice, and we're very close. And last night, somebody said Bang Bang Gang is is finally all back together, and Austin quote tweeted it and said, "Not quite, but close." So I don't know if he means if he was teasing, but if he's saying but close because there's all of the members but Jay, or but close because Jay is coming soon.
Oh my God.
I don't know
if
that was a little
tease,
but but yeah, I will always talk about Jay White. I even last night they showed the promo they cut after the show, and I quote tweeted it. And I was like, I need Jay White back with him so badly. Like I need them. I need the whole group.
Oh my God. I can't wait. I hope that he is healthy and plans to come back to wrestling because he is a boss. He's my absolute unequivocal favorite heel of this like time frame that I've been a wrestling fan.
He was such an incredible heel in New Japan.
He's so good. Even when when COVID was going on and he was doing all his bananas, like, and you're like, oh my God, Jay, I can't believe you're pulling that. Like, and then you're like, wait, yes, I can.
Yeah,
why would I think for 1 second once you found your feet that you weren't going to keep being exactly you? So good.
I'm so excited for him. But yes, that is a good
that's
comparison.
That's the generation I see happening here.
That's a really good comparison. Especially what makes it even better is Kevin Knight's first AEW match was Jay White. And Jay is the one who announced it on Collision. He was like, we just signed that guy. And he's like, I don't know if I was supposed to say that. Then it turns out Jay is injured and had a pay-per-view match. And Tony put Kevin Knight in his spot, 3 days later? And so he's just been on this insane ascent since then that he's just been unstoppable. And it came out this week, there was a report saying that Kevin Knight is a high priority for AEW. And I think that seems obvious with the way they're positioning him now. I mean, they already were, but Excalibur said, like, I happened to catch it on commentary, and I was like, that's such an insane stat. Kevin Knight is the first person in AEW to win 3 titles in a calendar year. He won the Trios titles with Jet Set Rodeo. He won it again with Mystico, and now he's TNT champion. All in a calendar year. Insane. And he's the only person in AEW to do that. And like, because I happened to catch that stat when Kevin was on his way to the ring, and I posted it on Blue Sky, and that thing, like, it was that tweet, well, not tweet because it's on Blue Sky, but that post has gotten so much attention from it, and I was like,
it's a great point. Excalibur is still the best one out of the bunch, I think, because he still has that. He does that sort of thing where it's not like, and I think back in the day, like when he was doing the table with Kevin Kelly and Chris Shelton and stuff, and they used to talk about it a lot in their interviews with like Garrett and whatever, where it was like, we don't know what's happening. Gator doesn't feed us information. We just know enough about wrestling to know we learn this and we do this and whatever. And so, yeah, do we sound like we might know? Sure. But it's no different than watching a baseball game or whatever announcer where it's like, you could say that they were Nostradamus too. Like,
right. Yeah.
It just comes from time. So I love that. And Kevin Knight, yay.
Yes, I love him.
Taking the mic and running with it.
He had amazing that match with MJF was excellent. That was the match for the TNT title was really great. I was concerned that Crash's prediction was going to come true. We're gonna have, but then I saw that report the same day saying that, and Sean Ross Sapp was like, I've been specifically told that he is a priority, and I was like, okay, then maybe he's not dropping it here, but it would make sense because of the storyline. I hope Crash is wrong. I know Crash didn't want it to be right either, to be fair. So luckily he did retain, but now he has a world title shot. Darby specifically chose him.
Good, because AEW with Darby Allin as champion is not something I care that much about, but AEW with Kevin Knight as champion, I'm all about. Yes. That'll bring me. I hate to be like this, but it's been a real downer for me. Like, I watch the Death Rider stuff that I really like. I watch Kevin Knight. I'm happy that there's other women when they get their time. I like watching them wrestle. I like that they're doing storyline with the gals, with the, with Harley and Alex and all those guys talking last night. But I don't know. Darby Allin as champion is just not for me.
I hope it's over sooner rather than later, which is
it's not for me.
The beginning. I mean,
it's making me want MJF
with
back.
Brody, but it's a match we've seen several times.
Yeah, I should not be wanting Maxwell Jacob Friedman to be champion again. Except that was the best version of Maxwell Jacob Friedman.
Not wanting Darby to be champion, I think to do it in a run that MJF was having that was so much different than the first run and so much better, and then to have it come to a halt like that in a way that felt from what you and I mean, I know some people don't agree with us, but in a way where Darby felt forced because that entire episode was forcing him onto us. And then you have you halt MJF's really good run to force this to go through. And then I mean, like we said, perhaps he loses it at Double or Nothing. We don't know yet what MJF is going to put up to, because Darby said again, I'm not going to face you until you, put something on the line, which I assumed was going to be the Dynamite Diamond Ring. Maybe I don't know why Darby would want that, but it's clearly something that means a lot to MJF. But yeah, I assume that's the match we're getting at Double or Nothing. But yeah, I don't.
I can't get this belt off him soon enough.
Yes, and with the stuff, and we're gonna get to the Will Ospreay stuff, but with the stuff they're doing with Will Ospreay to lead into, obviously, eventually get us to All In, and then Darby is on the other side of that. So I still have no desire for Will Ospreay versus Darby Allin, especially not in Wembley. That is not a Wembley match. That is not a match you headline Wembley with. There's just no way Will Ospreay versus Darby Allin should be the headline for that.
No.
I don't.
No. No. I don't know. I mean, I guess it's Tony's company, but it's not for me. I would do.
And again, if Darby is champion, if you're happy about it, then I hope you're enjoying this. I hope it's everything you want it to be. I just hope for me personally, I'm just ready for it.
No shade. It's just for me. It takes me out of.
There's stuff that we like that obviously we know other people are not into, and we get it. So, but if Darby is for you, I hope you are enjoying it. And
I'm struggling.
USDA guy said, and I agree. He said he's glad to see Kevin doing so well. Unfortunate that he was never able to commit to the time he needed to become a superstar in Japan. He will do very well if he stays on this trajectory. Yeah, I really am bummed that he's not able to do more of the New Japan stuff because I think Kevin he's obviously, he's great. And I think that from what I remember, I believe the Japanese fans did really, I think they started connecting with him it's been a couple of years now, or maybe a year. No, well, I guess not a couple of years. It was last year, right, that he did the double contract with him. But regardless, it's been a while since he's been in Japan. And I think the fans would really like if he was able to be there on a regular basis. I think that the Japanese fans would really like him. But he is. I hope he stays on this trajectory, and I hope that they are careful with him. Like, we don't do the thing where we get somebody really hot and then cool them off. But if they see him as a priority, it seems like hopefully that means they're going to book him properly. But there's definitely always that kind of, we've seen that happen before.
Yeah, it's hard to not have It's not WWE brain anymore. Tony does this. This is one of his most like recurring problems, is that where he gets somebody super hot and then crash off the edge of the earth. Like what happened?
Right.
That was an AJ Styles joke. But it's like he just, I don't know what it is though. That's like he did it with Wardlow. He did it, but I mean, we can go over the people forever, but please don't. Just
please take care of Kevin Knight.
Some of these like the people you've done that to,
and he is the one you look up to. So please do this correct.
Just don't. just lean into this one and let it take its course.
Yes. Michael says,
oh, sorry.
It's okay. Michael says, remember the beginning of the year when MJF won the belt? We didn't want him going to Wembley against Ospreay. Now we're hoping Max takes it to Wembley with the belt.
We're wrestling fans. What do you want?
Well, at the time, to be fair, we only had MJF's first title run to go off of.
Yeah.
And that was not good. Even he admits that it was not good. So in our and I think most people's defense who are mad about MJF having the title again, we didn't want a repeat of that. I could not handle another 400-day reign where he's making comments about going to WWE. I mean, I know part of that's behind him now because clearly he re-signed and there was no bidding war, so he doesn't have to focus on that. And thank God after that one god-awful promo, because man, that when he went down that path with that first promo, I was like, oh God, here we go again.
Yep.
And then he got some backlash about it, and then Swerve and Hangman got their digs in at him, and then he stopped. And then since then, it's been a completely different run for him. And yes, but that is a very good point that
I mean,
that you make there. I want to go back. There was a comment before we get into the Ospreay stuff, which we'll get to in a second. There was a comment that, well, first, actually, there's two comments because I forgot about this one. Yes, can we stop jobbing out the dogs on pay-per-view so we can get a good feud with Bang Bang Gang? That's what I started to talk about that when we were talking about Jay, is because now that the dogs are here, we need healthy Jay White to have this feud. And yes, I don't know what their booking is with the dogs. It's so weird. And personally, I enjoy this version of the dog because I like Finley and Connor.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know what we're doing here with that part of it. I mean, I like the alliance with the Death Riders. That at least is making some sense. But yes, on the pay-per-views, stop doing that. Because David Finley was a big deal to get for him to come sign here. So maybe they kind of did that with Jay White too. Like they did that.
Those were big. They were like on the way up in Japan, if not up in Japan. I mean, Jay White was a star in Japan. Like, yeah, David Finley was a star. Like they were doing.
He was, and he almost went to WWE. And so now that he chose you, I don't know what we're doing here, but they did that weird shit with Jay White where they were making him have the fake belt stuff with MJF.
Oh,
that was really stupid.
Yeah.
And so I was like, please don't do that. And I'm hoping, especially, and then with Forbidden Door coming up, and it seems that they're building some stuff towards that. Like, can you not have the dogs like losing pay-per-view matches before Forbidden? Like, let's get back on track. What are we doing here? I don't know what we're doing.
I hate to pardon the slur. I know everyone's angry, but I think that's where the Mark and Tony comes out just a little too hard, is those times. And that's what I think it is. I think it's like he books for his own fandom sometimes a little too much when he gets to that point, and that might be what pulls people apart or keeps him from seeing like the different array. It's like, yes, those people became popular in those places for the reasons that they were used for, so you should probably try and use them similarly,
right? Or
if you have another
and I know that they kind of already have that in Death Riders. So it makes sense that they're putting the dogs with them in the last.
Sure. That part makes sense.
Like that's what I'm saying. So that makes sense. But what they were doing leading,
they're all kind of the same attituded guys. They all want to like beat people up, and they don't need anybody.
So then make that. Yeah, I don't know. We could have the dogs in the tag team division doing some. I mean, not that necessarily having the titles, but like you could have them feuding in the tag division some more, especially because I don't know if they've said how long Gabe is supposed to be out, And so I don't know how much that's affected their plans, but even before Gabe was injured, they were having them lose on the pay-per-view. So I don't know what is going on with that. But then my other thing that I wanted to get to was Johnny said, and I had the same thought. They announced last night, so Jack Perry wrestled Mascara Dorada last night in a really great match. Then they announced at Fairway to Hell next week, he is going to have a rematch with Mark Davis. They just wrestled at Dynasty, and Jack won. It was a really great match.
That's right.
Mark Davis looked credible.
He's awesome.
He nearly murdered Jack. I had the same thought. If we're running this title back this match this fast, is it because Dunk is getting ready to get that title?
I hope so.
I like Jack Perry a lot.
Me too.
And I love him. I think he's done a great job as national champion. And, obviously we had the feud with Ricochet and him for this title that went on for a little bit. I think Jack has had really great matches, but I think he's only defended the title 3 or 4 times. And so I don't know and I was like, it makes sense because obviously Don Callis' thing is they want everybody in Don Callis to have gold. So it makes sense that Mark Davis did, he did take out, was it Ospreay last? Yeah, he took out Ospreay for the Death Riders. Well, and, or for Don Callis' family, but then the Death Riders came. So yeah, I'm just a little surprised we're running it back this fast. And if we're running it back this fast, it feels like Dunk has to win this because otherwise, why are we doing it this close together? But yeah, I thought that was kind of an interesting thing that we were doing.
Well, and I guess if they're making that a special that runs up against a thing, which is what you said that one of the WWE pay-per-views is next weekend. So they're So they're just doing that. So
yeah,
it would be nice to have something exciting happen on that show.
Yeah.
So I really love that.
It did look like Finlay and Clark Connors were having a hell of a time last night in that 10-man match. I enjoyed watching it.
That was fun.
I hated covering it.
Covering it, I wouldn't have wanted to do, but it was actually a really good 10-man.
2 Saturdays in a row of that. Like, stop. Yeah.
I'm not always for that, but in the right circumstances, I can be, and that was done really well.
Yes. I thought TK would also be higher.
Yeah, it makes sense that he should be, but we're all probably Finlay / New Japan types.
Yeah.
So.
Oh my God, it's so hard, Crash. And listening, because I'm listening to them on commentary, and there was so much. Nikki, thankfully, was helping me catch stuff if I was typing and couldn't see. But we were leaving so much stuff out of it because there's so much happening that we couldn't keep up with it all. We just tried to stick to the more important things that were happening. And then they started the match as soon as the bell rang, and they're all brawling outside of the ring. And then Claudio gets in the ring for 2 seconds, and then they're all brawling again. So a lot of fun to watch. I'm sure even more fun in the building. Not so much for covering. I hate when he does 10-man matches because they're such a pain. And they're always on Collision. This is why Nikki and I are always because Tony hates me. So he always puts, if it's not an FTR match, it's a 10-man match, or it's both on some rare occasion.
He's very clearly got it in for you now at this point, especially after all these women's questions and all these main event questions. And it's oh, I'm going to make, I know she's covering this. I'm going to make super duper sure that I throw on a 10-man with the most complicated wrestlers that do the most complicated moves possible. So,
yes.
Yeah, no problem. Whatever. And you heroically take on that task and win. So you and Nikki, not all heroes wear capes.
Thank you. It's definitely a lot, but obviously it kind of takes you out of the match a bit because you're focusing on making sure you get in stuff, and then that's why we get behind on stuff because we're always having to pause stuff to I'm can you pause that for a second so that I can my brain can catch up with my fingers, and then can you or I'll say things out loud that so Nikki can be yes, and then this happened, and so it usually takes both of us, or we have to rewind things because we missed, or sometimes the camera last night the camera missed something because the action was happening so quickly, and I was like, but that was during Yuta and Garcia versus Ace Austin and Juice, which was a phenomenal match. That match was so good. Well, and then John Moxley's on commentary, like getting super hype. He like fell. There's that gif of him. He like fell out of his chair.
He's just
on commentary.
awesome.
Marina's getting ready to fight Bang Bang Gang by herself. It's just great. Yeah, Nikki's like 5 things will happen, and then we forget 3 things because it's so rapid. Yes,
yeah,
exactly.
You guys are awesome.
So speaking of Death Row, we'll just go right into it. I know we have the other big thing to get to, but I guess should we just? Do you want to stay with the AEW thing, or do you want to switch gears to the big stuff and then come back to it?
We can. Well, I don't know anything about the WWE.
Okay. So, yes.
You're going to have to fill me in as we go.
Yeah, John Moxley's super distracting. I love him on commentary because he's so funny and he puts over talent, but he is so distracting.
He's great, but he is distracting because he's also funny, and he like pops you, and then you're like, wait, I missed a whole bunch of stuff because I was laughing at John Moxley.
Yes. Happens all the time. Because he will say insane things. And I'm like, did John Moxley just say that?
He's insane.
Oh my God, that was last night. Like, I missed it the first time. But Juice finally gets tagged in, and Juice is from Illinois. And they made the reference to his Illinois power, which I wrote in my notes. And Mox said, oh, he's from Illinois. And he said something like the power of Abraham Lincoln or something. He made a reference to Abraham Lincoln. And just like Nikki and I were dying because we missed it the first time around. But then we had to go back and rewind something, and we heard it. And we were like, this man is making an Abe Lincoln joke.
He's a nerd. You nerd. You and Brian Danielson are over there just reading books about everything.
Yes, and it works. This is why it works so well for him, Jordan, because Jordan says Moxley can switch for goofy to cold-blooded in 2 seconds. And somebody tweeted the other day and said something about him being deranged or something, and Renee responded, and she was like, yes, he's deranged, and she's like, and I love it, and I love him, or something. Like
she completely does. You can tell, like, first of all, you would have to be a very special kind of person to be okay with being with someone like that anyway. And then I read the book, the Mox, and he's like has a whole chapter on marriage and her, and he marks out about her, and he loves her so much, and he was so cool when he came over to AEW because he's like, my wife still works over there. And then even when he was on with like Garrett and Dave, and he was just like, she's doing a cookbook, and she does it. He's like, she can do whatever she wants, and I'm just like, oh, look at him. He's
that man straight up said he wanted to be a trophy husband.
Oh my God, it's amazing. I was
like, that man isn't going to stop wrestling.
Oh, and that's why she's so funny when she's watching. And now she's more involved with AEW, but it was always fun to watch her Twitter when he was putting on his crazy matches.
Yes.
Because she would always say something so funny. Like, does anybody know where I can get like a case of iodine? And like, I mean, she'd say something like really offhanded, not like I'm freaking out like a normal she is, but it's just like at the same time, it's like, I know who I married.
Yeah, somebody had a sign that had something, and they were like, most women are like, I can fix him, and Renee's like, I like him, I love him just the way he is. Like he can be deranged, it's fine.
No, this is perfect. Says a lot about her too. I'm like, you two are perfect, and I can't wait until your kid because she's already old enough.
She's already starting a little bit.
I love when Renee tweets about Nora, only because my still favorite one was the one where Nora swore, and she was like, I wonder where she got that from.
Yes, she posts stuff on her Insta stories about her, and the other day when they were in Canada, she had Nora with her, and Nora Nora was walking behind her and she's like, I have my assistant with me. And Nora repeated her and she was like, oh, is this what we're doing today? You're going to copy everything that I say. And Nora started cackling. So then Renee started cackling to tease her back. It was so cute. Hang on 1 second. I guess Miley is done with.
Miley's ready to go. I saw her moving around back there. I was like, Miley is going to need.
She's ready to go. So let me let her out real quick.
Miley. The Jushin Liger had a Mox poke me sign. Yeah, I love that there's a Liger in the audience. I'm never sad to see that. Liger's boss. I love him. A friend of mine and I had a theory that everything went to hell when Liger retired because it was.
It is. I mean, that makes sense. I remember you saying that, and it makes perfect sense to me.
It happened when you because it was John. He said it, and he timed it out, and he was like, and then he retired, and then within this many things, all these things started to happen, and then COVID happened, and I was like,
right,
okay. I mean. People believe silly things. Like, why can't we say that, like, Liger's retirement was, like, what changed, that shifted the... It may have altered... I think it altered our timeline.
And how Harambe's death, like, changed everything. So
it did. Maybe those things altered our timeline into this insane bananas thing that we're doing right now. So,
Jordan,
we can't retcon our own thing like they do in comics.
Jordan, I am one of those people.
A lot of women.
Nikki also is one of those people.
A lot of women in our Discord. And also, I think what's funny is like, and there are plenty of man crushes on him too, because they're like, yeah.
There is something like complete. Yeah, we talked about it before. Even Collins has been on this show, and Collins and I have had the discussion about. We both think Jon Moxley is hot, and
great.
There's just it's everything. Like, it's obviously, like, I find him attractive, like, physically, but I think it's also
the bad boy charm.
It's the persona. It's the character. It's the way he speaks and the way he carries himself. It's just there's all these different little things.
Confidence, comedy.
Yeah, there's just a lot of things that make him. I think, at least for me, make him attractive. Because obviously there are I think in some cases Jon Moxley is maybe not the person that when you're looking at that roster you're like, oh, this is going to be the person that women find attractive. They're
right. You're going to go like Hangman and Swerve and
right. I mean, and Andrade who rips his pants off.
Yeah, there's a lot of beautiful men in AEW that would come up first before you would necessarily think Mox, except that. The stereotypes exist for a reason. There is that bad boy thing. He's super charming. He can kick ass. Like, he can take care of his business. So
a lot of it is his aura.
It's great. That. Plus, for me, it's like he loves.
I mean, I never found Al Bundy attractive. Also,
there is a weird crossover with that, though. That almost like I see where you're going.
He's not Al Bundy. Also, I had to glance at that because I thought that said AI at first, and I was like, "What?" And then I was like, "Oh,
okay, yes." It would just be a boot store.
Well, and their neighbors.
There'd only be black boots in there. They'd be like, you get steel-toed ones, not steel-toed ones, lace-up ones, pull-ons. They'd all be black boots. That's it. They just made all the whole store.
But it's funny because you say that because the writers of Married with Children were wrestling fans, and that's why their last name was Bundy, and the neighbors next door were. What is there? I just blanked on it because I've seen that many times. It's
been a very long time.
I can't remember.
I remember
the other day. I mean, I've seen the comment many times that the writers were wrestling fans and the Bundys came from wrestling. And God, I just blanked on what their neighbor's last name is. But it was because they were wrestling. The writers were wrestling fans, so it's funny that.
I mean, that's not Jon Moxley at all.
Off. Thank you. It's Rhodes.
That's funny.
Right. It's the Rhodes and the Bundys.
I remember I can picture the neighbors, but I didn't remember their last names because I watched it periodically because I I had the kind of mom who she sort of like floated in and would occasionally be like, don't watch that. I don't want you guys watching that. And so
yeah, I know how that is. Luckily, I don't think that was one of the shows that our mom did that to. She did that with other stuff, but yes, but I definitely used to watch that. And then Nikki is, yeah, Renee could pull off being Peg Bundy.
Renee could do anything. Renee is so, I just love it. She rocks. Like, I'm with Mox. She's amazing.
Yeah,
She's helped that backstage team. She wears the coolest clothes and pulls them all off.
yeah.
I'm like,
and shout out to her for working
off a denim jumper like she did that one time. Like, that thing was like so cute. It
like, was very cute.
I'm like, I would never wear that.
And she has like never. Sometimes she'll have like custom made jackets made for pay-per-views. Like she's shown like in her stories where she'll get like she'll get it, stuff like that.
I mean, everyone, it's like it's easy to forget that she's like produced her own podcast. She's a cooking person. She's written her own cookbooks. Like, yeah, she's got a whole career.
Yeah,
and she working for the Bengals
with her voice that way you could barely hear her. It sounded like it hurt for her to talk, but she pulled it off this week because she's a professional. And so
she's great. Love.
They are both great.
Wonderful.
And then somehow in all of this, we'll just Crash said Andrade is going to open a pants store. Crash said, "Okay, I now need the Death Riders to come out to the Married with Children theme, Love and Marriage." Mikey Ruckus could probably make a Death Riders version of. He follows me on Twitter and I think on Blue Sky. I should be like, our chat has a test for you.
Andrade could open a pants store where he was like John Moxley's nemesis in retail.
It'll be like in Bob's Burgers, where you have Bob's Burgers and Jimmy's Pestos across the street from each other. And because Jimmy Pesto is always in Bob's restaurant
trying to mess him up, right?
So
he's always trying to close him down.
Would be.
God.
I'm gonna have to at Mikey Ruckus later and be like, our chat, I know you're super busy with 9 million things, but
if you need a prompt for fun, here's one.
Right. Listen, if you can do the 90210-esque theme for the conglomeration, I have faith that you could do a Death Riders version of Married with Children.
Did he do Hook's music too?
No, that's a I forget who sings that song, but that's a song that's been around for a while.
Well, because I mean, it's like it sounds like a remix of "Fly Me to the Moon," but
it's I forget. It's I can't remember what song that is. It came out. I think it came out in the like either the 90s or early 2000s. Because I remember when it first came out. When he first came out to that, I saw people talking about it. And talking about the name of the song and who sings it, because obviously his first song was Action Bronson, and then Action Bronson and him and AEW kind of had I think he was making some digs at AEW, and they didn't. Some people say it's because of that. Some people say it's just because the song license ran out and they chose not to renew it, because Hook was doing something a little bit different, and so they switched songs, and I cannot remember now what that song is called and who sings it, but it probably did get remixed. I mean, it may have sampled "Fly Me to the Moon."
It's what it reminds me of anyway.
I think it must have sampled it, but that is not a Mikey Ruckus original. Okay. That's something they licensed.
Interesting, cool
for that. But yeah, so this is the actual order we were going to go to until big news broke yesterday. So we're going to just stick with this. We'll stick with the AEW stuff and then circle to the other. So. In all of this, speaking of Jon Moxley and the Death Riders and all of the things, Will Ospreay got abducted in the ring. Mark Davis was gonna, I guess, just murder him. And Death Riders surrounded the ring and were like, "We need him, don't do that." And so he slowly puts Ospreay down, leaves the ring, and they carried him off. Claudio puts him on his shoulders, walks off with him. Then we get a video package, and John Moxley is sitting in a chair across from Ospreay, and he's doing one of his John Moxley soliloquies that he does about how wrestling should be and all the things. And then he tells everybody to leave, hands Will Ospreay a chair, and gives him the option to harm him because John Moxley is the one who, in storyline, put him out to where he needed surgery. And then he comes back and they have the match at Dynasty. John Moxley just barely beats him under the 20-minute. Like, I think it was like 19 minutes or something. Will cannot beat him. And he's like, I'll give you here's this chair. If you want to, injure me the way I injured you, fine. This is how us as men are going to handle this. And we don't know what happened. So then we get a new video package, and we see that Will has shown up, and Will is there. Well, first of all, Pac is standing over in the corner, and John Moxley just decides he's going to poke Pac in the stomach. Try to make Pac break, I guess, and Pac is like, don't touch me. And he's telling Will that he needs him to lose everything that makes him him. Basically, you can't have feelings. Your feelings have to be about what's in the ring. You have to get rid of your feelings about me, why you hate me, all of this stuff. And then Ospreay says, well, where's the ring? And they all laugh because there is no ring. We practice right here in these little, and we go to arenas and find little hallways and just beat the crap out of each other, apparently. John Moxley says this is proprietary business, puts his hand up, you have to leave. So last night, and so that I had already was like, what are we going to talk about this week? Okay, Will Ospreay a Death Rider? Well, last night on commentary, they asked John Moxley, is Will and the Death Riders? And he said, that's proprietary information. So I have no idea where we're going with this. What are your thoughts on Ospreay? Do you think that he is the Death Rider? Do you think he's using this to get close to John Moxley? Do you think he's like, I can't beat, this is the sort of I can't beat them, so I'm going to join them type of thing? Or what are your thoughts on this now developing situation?
Now, did Will have a New Japan show appearance this weekend?
Tomorrow. Tomorrow for us, I believe that, because Wrestling Don Taco was this weekend. I didn't realize it was I'd forgotten that it's 2 nights. So it is not, and he is not cleared. He told John, I'm not cleared, but I have a title. We have a title match. It's a trios match. And he's like, we have titles on the line. I'm not letting them down. And Mox is like, hell yeah, that's my that's
loyalty. Yeah.
So yes, he has a match. I guess for us, it'll technically be tomorrow. But yes, it is
I think
I believe it's for the is it the Never Open 6-man titles? I know it's a trios title.
Okay. So some of it probably was so that he didn't just show up on that show without, like, where people that are paying attention went, wait, in storyline, he's injured and he's not clear and all of this stuff. So he's not supposed to be doing that. Right. So I think some of it was that, but I think also there could be something to this because there's been the whole, like, I mean, whether we like it or not, like, Death Riders has made a bunch of champions too, just as well as Don Callis has. So it's like you can go this route or you can go that route, and maybe Will is going to team up with them a little to get over the hump. Maybe Mox wants him to beat him. Maybe that's the story. I mean, because Mox plays with your head, so that's.
Yeah. Oh, well, and he kind of did that with Stat a little bit. Death Rider did that with Stat, and then she ended up winning the title, but she won it with the seat belt, which was the move taught to her by Yuta, who he learned it from Best Friends. But Yuta was like, "Oh, she used my move," and then it turned, and then so people, obviously there was a period of time where some people thought Stat was going to be a Death Rider because of what they did. But this obviously seems way more in depth than what they were with Stat. They were just giving her advice and trying to, and that way they appear to be training him.
Yeah, well, that's how they sold it. So I mean,
right? Yeah,
so,
I'm really not sure where we're going with this, because I was like, is this to put him in a position? This is where I kind of go back and forth, because obviously Will Ospreay can win the men's heavyweight championship on his own. But because he can't beat Mox and he's in this thing, does he think that he needs the Death Riders in order to win the title? So is this something that's going to carry through to All In? Or is he playing Jon Moxley?
Well, that could be possible. I was just thinking that. I was like, or is this yeah, sure, I'll go train with you and I'll put up with all your BS only to turn on you because now I know all your tricks.
Exactly what I'm saying. Is he using this to get in Jon Moxley's head to learn everything he can about Jon Moxley? Or is this I don't know what to do. I can't beat them. This isn't working. I've got to try something else.
Can't beat them, join them.
Right. And so I can't really tell where it's going. And so say Ospreay, I think we all know Ospreay's winning the title at All In unless something insane happens. So if he wins, will he still be involved with Death Riders at that point? And then if he does, are they going to be like, well, you wouldn't have won this title without us? But even still, even if this is, maybe him and Mox have a match at Redemption or whatever, and they blow off the feud, but then he wins the title, then Jon Moxley can be like, you only won that title because we gave you the tools that you needed, type of thing. So I can't, and then we've had the conversation several times. What happens to Jon Moxley when he's not the national champion anymore?
Right.
They don't appear to want to kick him out anymore.
Right.
They appear to have gotten over that. That's not where the story is going. But if he drops this title within the next few months, because I doubt Ospreay, if Ospreay was going to win the national title, it would have been last month, because I don't think he's going to beat him at Redemption. And hopefully we're not going to do double champion Will Ospreay.
Yeah. That'd be weird.
That's not what we're doing. So I don't know I guess it's too early to tell kind of where this is headed, but we do know Death Riders like to play mind games.
Yeah.
Jon Moxley wants to hit the entire purpose of the Death Riders is to mold wrestlers into the type of wrestlers that Jon Moxley thinks people should be. And he's talked about way back in the beginning, he was like, I want to create, 1,000 versions of me. I want to, this generation of wrestlers are different than the last generation of wrestlers. And they don't have, I want to pass on what was taught to me to teach this next generation. Clearly, Ospreay is part of that next generation, but also so are Yuta and Garcia. He's trying to mold them too. So it would make sense if he's trying to mold Ospreay into what he thinks he should be, so that when he is world champion, he can continue the Death Riders, their vision, I guess, for AEW. So yeah, I'm very, very intrigued.
Yeah.
With where this is going. I just don't know where it's going. And I can't tell I guess it's too early to tell if Will Ospreay is using this so he's eventually going to play Jon Moxley, and but that feels that Jon Moxley is still too smart for that. He would know, he's just going to use this to get back at me, that he's just going to use what I teach him against me. Jon Moxley feels way too smart for that. So I can't tell but still, Ospreay could learn all of this stuff. And then, yes, he is the Continental. I think I did say national. I meant to say Continental.
I guess you could think of it like Mox is overconfident and Ospreay gets the better of him kind of deal.
Yeah.
And then that could really break up the Death Riders in that case.
Right. Well, and especially if they start trying to warn him, like if Claudio or Pac or Marina's like, hey, I think Ospreay is learning, we're teaching him too much.
Right.
And he's going
Are you
to
teaching him or is he taking advantage of you?
Yeah. And then John, it's a few months ago, it felt like Death Riders were ending.
Winding down.
For many people. And then Jim Valley was like, no, I don't. He came on our show and was like, I don't think so. Jon Moxley is always several steps ahead. This looks like Jon Moxley is several steps ahead.
Yeah,
this looks like Death Riders are as strong as they've ever been. This looks like there's not dissension. That dissension that was there before is not there. It doesn't seem like if he loses, we're kicking you out. So it seems like the Death Riders are probably not ending anytime soon.
Mm-hmm.
Even if he loses the Continental Championship, even if, Ospreay does get the best of him, it seems like the Death Riders are going to be a faction that's going to be here for a while. Now, of course, that could change. But yeah, I'm really, really intrigued with...
it's interesting. I mean, it's different, and I like the idea of trying it out. I'm very curious.
Yeah. And I'm curious if the end game is if this is how we get Will Ospreay to be a champion. And then I guess if somehow Darby is still champion going into Wembley, that can, I guess, put Ospreay in a heel position against a baby face Darby, even though I still hate it. I absolutely do not. Darby versus Will Ospreay is not a headlining match at all.
Not in my world.
In any year. It's just not.
No, I don't.
You can barely main event, Redemption or Wrestle Dream with that. You certainly can't main event your biggest pay-per-view with that. You're going, you will not, if that ends up being the match, you're never going to convince me that should be the match.
Yeah, I'm not good with that.
Yes. Yeah, they could. This could be this could be the updated version of a Bullet Club where they get this longevity of lasting for a really long time.
And then somebody overthrows the leader and becomes the new leader.
And no matter what, Cody Rhodes was never the leader of the Bullet Club.
Yeah.
Somebody posted, because it's the 10-year and it was the 10-year anniversary of Bullet Club forming yesterday. And somebody made a list of all their leaders, and Cody Rhodes was not one of them. And I was like, good. I love Cody Rhodes, but he was never the leader of Death Riders.
Kenny was the leader.
No. Bullet Club was fine.
Yep. It was fine.
It was fine. Death Riders are fine. Will Ospreay is fine. Crush said I would have all sorts of feeling if Mox is getting used by Ospreay. Boards to Will. Curry had said, or Crash said, boo, Mox is just trying to help Will be a better wrestler, a better man, and a better father, maybe. Just a better Will. How dare Will abuse their relationship? I don't want any of those, Curryhead. How dare you ask me that? Curryhead had the audacity to ask me if I'd rather have FTR as tag team champions or Darby as the world champion.
No. The answer is no.
He said, I have a choice, and I have a choice, and there is no option 3.
Oh. Nope. As Captain Kirk put it, I don't believe in a no-win situation.
I hate FTR more than I hate Darby.
Well, obviously. I mean, right. I guess if we're parsing it out to the absolute, if we're splitting the splittiest of split hairs, then I guess
I don't like either option.
You hate FTR more than you hate Darby.
Yeah, I guess if that's how we look at it, I hate FTR more than Darby.
That's
Crash said Sam turns into the Joker in that scenario. I get, yeah. I mean, I don't know if that's still.
If you push her that far, she kind of has the right. I mean,
this is true. See, Mo.
I think we've been remarkably patient with the situation with those two people, groups, whatever, having AEW belts in their hands for far too long.
Yeah, and it seems like there could be potentially some shakeups, and we've talked about this match, the FTR Cope and Christian match has. Paul Fontaine was saying, he said on Twitter the other day that it needed more. He thinks it needs more stipulations because if they lose, Cope and Christian will not team anymore. It's a street fight, and now it's an I Quit match on top of that.
It needs more steps.
Needs some more. It is.
And you have to do my dishes every week for a year.
Michael says Moxley loves Rocky 3. He keeps pushing the storyline on people. Poor CM Punk couldn't get it. Now it's Will's turn. Oh, that is
I
true.
hope he
And
can get
also,
Mr. T.
this is
then.
where I also say once again that I am on the same page as CM Punk. I have not seen Rocky 3. I haven't seen any of the Rocky movies.
That's okay. That's the one with Mr. T in it. We can get some Mr. T in on this.
It's a movie I've never. It just was not something I, as a kid, I clearly had no interest in it, and I just have still really had no interest in it, and so.
It wasn't on purpose for me. My father refused. He watched them over and over, and my father was the lord of his television, and there was only the one.
Sure.
So we watched Rocky over and over and over, all of because he up to 5, because that's as long as he lived, and he would laugh at me now because I watched them so many times that they have become a part of. I know them all and I know them really well, and I've rewatched them. I've watched the newer ones in the last few years. I finally got up the courage to watch them and be able to enjoy them. And I when I was going to Ireland, one of the movies they had on the plane that was comfort. I was like, oh, they have Rocky on here. I just popped on the first one.
There you go.
Such a nerd. He would laugh his ass off at that. Because I used to get so mad at him, be like, oh my, I don't want to watch Rocky again. How many times are you going to watch this?
Jordan says, the thing that makes the storyline so confusing to people but interesting is Jon Moxley. He's not an average heel or face, which makes situations with him walk that line of good and evil, and he's enjoying it.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, and I believe Maria said she was not enjoying the storyline. Oh, she said it makes no sense. I don't know where it's going yet. I think we need a little bit, and I can see, Maria, it does seem confusing.
It is
and
weird.
I don't know, I think part of it is because we don't exactly know where it's going yet because it's so new, but it seems kind of out of nowhere that Ospreay has all of this hatred towards him, which is why I can't beat them, so I'm going to join them, or I am going to use this opportunity to get close to Jon Moxley to see if this can finally help me. But then I don't have the Rocky aspect of it to kind of see where this is going. I'll have to rely on you guys for insight into that part of it. Crash said Pat McAfee is in the new Rocky remake, so he hears. Somebody had a sign on Monday. Somebody had a sign on Monday near the front row that said, at least for Pat McAfee.
Oh, lovely.
Jordan says, Rocky, great workout motivation, great love story, great story of perseverance. Yes.
Yeah, and the whole thing barely got made in the first place, which is really the craziest part. So
so I kind of knew that much. So Michael says that Clubber Lang, which is Mr. T, beats Rocky, the Apollo Creed, his arch nemesis, decides to train him to get better. So in this situation, Will has lost to Jon Moxley, but Jon Moxley is also training him.
Yeah,
Jon Moxley so is Jon Moxley both Apollo Creed
and Clubber Lang? No.
No. Oh wait, no, I think I misread. So Apollo Creed is who beat Rocky, and then that's who trained him.
Apollo beats Rocky in the first one. Spoilers for a 500-year-old movie.
Spoiler for movies that's been out for 40 years.
So the whole story is that Apollo goes out and wants a guy that he just tries to get an easy fight guy that he can get a good easy win over because he's been the world champion for a long time. He goes out and ends up with this dude who wants a shot, who's been an indie boxer and sort of almost made it a few times and didn't. And that's the whole thing. But Rocky takes him to all the rounds of a championship thingy.
Right.
And so at the end, you're like, oh, he won in spirit is kind of the way it is. It's like the guy doesn't win at the end like you would in a traditional sports movie,
right?
But he wins in a sort of existential sense where he has gone the distance with this champion. In the second one, the champion cannot get over the fact that everyone's questioning whether or not he won it on a split decision and all these things.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's so hell-bent on trying to fight Rocky again because he wants to prove to everybody that it was some fluke and all of these things and la la la. So after all of that happens, by 3, they become frenemies. So
that's where we are right now with where we're going into frenemy territory, probably maybe with Ospreay. Is that where we're going?
A little bit. And that's where I think that people are making the relationship. So Rocky and Apollo become frenemies because Rocky gets his ass handed to him by Mr. T's character, who's called Clubber Lang.
Okay.
And Apollo's like, here's why you got your butt handed to you. And also he loses his manager as a result. Like, that's a sad one. 3 is a sad one.
Yeah,
there's a lot of sad going
I've
on
heard that much. Yeah.
There's a ton of sad in 3. But so he loses his manager and then he has to go fight and he gets his ass handed to him by Mr. T. And so Apollo now has come all the way around and has a bit of respect for Rocky. And he's like, okay, let's be frenemies. And me and my guy who trains me, we're going to train you so you can go out there and beat this guy and, go beat Mr. T. And so that's, I think, where people are drawing the parallel. It's just a little tough because that would make, like you just said it would make Mox both Clubber Lang and Apollo Creed. And that makes it hard because you can't be both because those are 2 distinctively different roles in that movie, in that storyline. So
okay.
We have to decide which one.
Yeah, because Fernando says Apollo Creed was retired in the movie and not active like John Moxley is. And also,
don't get me started on 4 because 4 is like kind of the best one in the weirdest way because it's an 80s one.
Wait a minute. Hang on. Things are moving before I can pop them. Where was it? Okay. So Curryhead says we're in Rocky 3 mode right now.
I mean, I can see what you're saying. So.
Donnie says Rocky was into himself in Rocky 3, kind of how we'll embrace being the feeling in AEW. Okay. So because he wanted to be the one to restore the feeling and he took that on as being the ultimate babyface, I guess you could say. And then Michael says, Will coming back from neck surgery thinking he can't wrestle the same way he used to, yet he keeps trying. This will end up ending him. So Moxley is going to train him to fight different, which has been a thing from even outside of wrestling and real life, is if Will Ospreay is, because of the surgery, if he's going to have to change how he wrestles. And so far, it doesn't appear to be, but now that he's training with John Moxley, it seems like he's like, let me at least get some other tools.
More brute force, less high spots.
Right, exactly.
Because he can't be doing that kind of thing with the potential to re-injure himself.
Right. And then Curryhead says, so who is going to be Drago for Ospreay and Rocky 4? Kenny Omega?
No, he's too nice. I know he's creepy.
He'll have to. I mean, just because he would be the one, hopefully, to defeat.
Well, no, because then he would have to punch he'd have to punch Moxley so hard that he took him out entirely. And then Ospreay would have to want to avenge him. So he'd have to go beat him. He'd have to go beat Kenny.
Fernando says that he thinks that Rocky 3 is the GOAT of the Rocky franchise. And then,
I mean, that's all debatable because we could go on and on.
Sure.
I'll leave the Rocky podcasting on this network is well covered by Garrett and Fred.
Yes, Garrett is. Yes, Garrett. If you have not already, subscribe to Fight Game Media and then go find and just search Rocky, and you'll find the stuff the projects that he was doing.
He still does them sometimes. We do a lot of fight adjacent movie stuff too. So
yes,
combat adjacent movie stuff.
Yes. And then somebody else, there was a comment that said that Death Riders is like Fight Club, and somebody said John Moxley is a real life Tyler Durden, and yes, it does feel like that. Except for and they don't really talk about Fight Club because it is proprietary.
Right. There you go. And they do hate authority.
They do. They do hate authority. Let me see. Hang on one. Jordan says Rusev said him and Lana built their characters around the villains in Rocky 4.
That it tracks. That makes total sense to me.
I was gonna say Mel will be able to comment on that more than I can.
That makes total that tracks. I get that. I can see that.
Fernando would like to know who will play Hogan in this little Ospreay and Moxley story because Hogan played Thunder Lips in Rocky 3. So who is?
Oh, Thunder Lips. Oh, man. That was a weird one. I think they're all good. 5 isn't that good, but up to 4, 1 through 4 are money, and then the newer ones are pretty awesome. So both the Creed movies and the remaining Rocky ones.
Good. Yeah, the ones with Michael B. Jordan I heard had really good.
Yeah.
Seemed like it had some really good positive.
No, they were actually really good. I was impressed. They had the they had the vibe. They got it right. So
good. Well, that's good because that's always hard when they try to like redo or add on to stuff and then it could become a mess.
Yeah, they did. I feel like they did a good job and he's great. So
good. That's good. So, yes, as things play out, and if you see more Rocky 3 things, you guys are going to have to tell me. You're like, okay, this week, Sam, this is what happened.
Stuck, like, she's going to end up, she's going to be like, God damn it, I'm going to have to sit down and watch these stupid movies, finally. They're good, though. I mean, you wouldn't be wasting your time. They are good. Right. Okay. You guys would probably be shockingly like, because you like combat sports and you like underdog stories and you would appreciate, I would say pound for pound, like using that pun, but the cinematography in Rocky, especially at its time, is so groundbreaking for how they shot the fights that you could argue that like modern fight scenes literally would not be the way they are without the existence of that film.
Well,
those films. Sense. Period, because to Sylvester Stallone's credit, he really wanted to get the authentic, making you feel like you were in the ring with the boxers. And he did a really nice job. And the new ones continued that, in my opinion. Because there's nothing worse than watching a fight movie that feels, I mean, this coming from a pro wrestling fan, but feels staged.
Right. I want to get into the other topic, but I want to make sure nothing else goes that we need to cover before we get to it.
There are more things coming in on the wire.
David Goggins built a lot of motivation around the fight scene in Rocky. And then Maria says no heel managers get what they deserve in the Rocky movies. Unfortunately, Don is in good shape.
Yeah, very. So right.
That is good to know. Thank you.
That is true. Boy, howdy.
Speaking of Don, somebody posted, it came up in my timeline from some account in Germany, and they were screenshotting something, and it was Lance Storm sitting next to Don Callis with hair, but also Luther with hair.
Whoa.
Yeah, I don't know if I retweeted it. I can't remember. I'll go and I should retweet it under Powerbombshells. I sent it to our group chat, and I was like, first of all, it's weird seeing Don Callis with hair, but Luther has hair. This picture, Lance Storm did not have hair.
Oh, that's.
Or maybe he had a little bit of hair. I can't remember because I was too busy looking at Don Callis and Luther.
You're
with
like,
hair.
Why? What? Weird.
Crash said, TK used to throw movie nights and had everyone sit through all 6 OG Rocky movies back to back, Binge Fest for Binge Fest.
Wow.
Or 5 or whatever it was.
It was 5.
Michael agrees with you that the first Rocky was shot so well, they don't shoot movies like that anymore.
Yeah, it was really well done. I mean, it's beautiful. It really is something else. Especially at its time. It was like 78 or something. I mean, it was wild.
Johnny says, I want to see Ospreay and Mox running on the beach together wearing high socks. It's funny.
Doing the Survivor montage.
It's funny that you say that because several months ago, I think it may have been when they were in the UK. I think it was Yuta posted it in his stories, and Yuta doesn't post very often, but he and Marina were working out on the beach at like 6:00 in the morning.
That is Rocky-esque.
Yes, and so I'm pretty sure it was Marina and Yuta that were training.
It's your Eye of the Tiger
when they were
on,
doing
man.
it was yeah, I think it must have been London because it was when they were doing the stuff with Tony and Orange, and so they were training together on the beach. I don't remember if they were wearing socks or not, but they
I mean, if you're not running with the socks up to your shins, like OG 80s like workout, I don't know. I don't know what you're doing with your life.
Johnny says if they do a Rocky tribute, the Outrunners need to be featured. Absolutely, 1000%. And now they have. I'm still getting caught up on ROH, but I've decided to get into the more recent ones because there's a pay-per-view on the 15th. So I'm trying to get to those first. And I watched one last night, and that episode was really great. And I got to see the Workhorsemen, who I haven't seen in forever because it's been a while since they've both been healthy at the same time. And they had it was the Rascals' first match in ROH, and they put them against the Workhorsemen. And the Workhorsemen did what they do, which was great. But I've seen, because even though I'm behind, I have seen clips of it from, especially because the Outrunners, I seem to see their stuff more often on Blue Sky, but they are with Dalton Castle now in ROH, and God, it works so well together. And they do a lot of 80s themed stuff with Dalton now. And obviously Dalton Castle is named after the two Patrick Swayze characters, so it works even better. So yes, now I need the Outrunners and Dalton to be involved in this.
That's
somehow.
amazing.
I need it somewhere.
Yeah, I'm into that 100%. Let's go.
Crush says Darby has already done Rocky 4 where Balboa climbs the mountain. And Curry had said the boxing scenes in the first Rocky were grimy, but in a good way.
Yeah. Agreed. It's good stuff. You guys are appreciators. If you ever felt the urge, you would probably enjoy them.
Okay, I need you to please explain why this is similar to Point Break.
How is
I know it takes a few minutes for our comments to...
Are you saying because he's Keanu Reeves and he loves Mox so much, but also he knows he's a bad guy, and so he has to like take him out?
Our comments are on a delay, so it may take us a minute to get to it. Before I even get into the next things that we're talking about, I need more on this. Maria thinks the Outrunners should turn heel. They would be fun 80s heels. Like the 80s bad guys. They would be fun. But I love them as a babyface, and I don't want them to be heel. But I could see them doing like the 80s cartoonish villain thing. They'd probably be really good.
You guys, I mean, are you looking for Will Ospreay to shoot his gun up in the air and go, ah? I mean, like because he loves Patrick Swayze so much and they're best friends, but also he knows he's a bank robber. I'm very confused.
Oh, okay. Because Ospreay is joining a group of crazy thrill-seeking adrenaline junkies.
Is John Moxley supposed to be Bodhi then? So he's like the Zen psycho who's robbing banks.
Jordan says Mox is the spiritual leader of the bank robbers and sees potential in Will and likes him.
Yeah. But then he's going to turn on him, I guess, in the end, because I mean, if Will, so on that premise, so Will is undercover thinking that he is fooling Mox, but then Mox finds out that he's fooling him and makes him do something awful because Mox is holding something that Will values hostage.
So Alex?
Potentially, or whatever. But that's how that would have to play. I've seen Point Break so many times. I own the cassette soundtrack to that film.
Fantastic.
I love that movie. And the best part about that movie, and also about the original Top Gun, written by women.
You love that.
No one ever realizes, like, there's all these great things. It's like Carrie Fisher was a ghostwriter and she did all these, and a screen doctor, but like some of these, like the greatest like action films of the 90s, 80s frame were actually, they were written by a woman. So I'm like,
fantastic. Okay, Johnny says Mox is like Bodhi with his anti-authority, pro-violence views.
Yeah, I mean that So that would be like, then he would like get Will to follow his path, figure out that Will is actually trying to cheat on him, and then he would make Will do something crazy because he figured out Will's game.
And that sounds like something John Moxley would do.
I mean, Point Break is closer than Rocky 3 if we're going by that logic then.
Because John Moxley would absolutely end character.
Because Will could think he was too smart.
Make Will Ospreay prove something to him or make him do something like he figures out he's getting played. He would absolutely get revenge on him by making him do something.
Prove it.
Yeah.
Because, like, Will might think he's more clever than he actually is, and he got into a thing that he was way in over his head because it's Mox. And then it is a lot closer to Point Break than it is to Rocky 3, in my opinion. Having seen both films an embarrassing number of times.
Maria says Patrick was the hot piece of meat in Point Break. Patrick was in
both
everything.
of them were hot in that movie at my age.
And everything that he was in. Crush us when TK moves on to Dirty Dancing. Who will be left carrying the watermelon? Yuta.
Nobody puts Will Ospreay in a corner.
It's going to be Yuta who carries the watermelons, though. Jordan says what's cool about Point Break is good guys and bad guys being friends. That's such an interesting idea.
Yeah. No, it's a fun movie. I really love that movie. I just loved it growing up. I watched it so many times.
It sounds like John Moxley has also been watching Rocky and Point Break.
Apparently, I mean, that's totally logical to me because he's a nerd. So, and those seem like if you're into action flicks and you're into combat movies, and again, like the Rocky thing was not my fault. It was just my dad had the TV and we watched what dad was watching, or we were go do something else because there's no computers and game boxes yet.
Sure.
Or very
I was trying to
little.
remember. I think my dad watched the Rocky movies, but I don't remember them being.
My dad just liked sports films because he liked.
Yeah,
especially
my dad
underdog
ones like
ones,
that
but...
too. Like it sounds like Rocky is right up his alley, but I don't remember that being something always on or something that he watched. Nikki says, "Is Pac or Claudio Ginger in this scenario?" Claudio, I guess. Well. Oh no, Johnny says he said Patrick Swayze punched an extra on the set who told him to calm down when they were rehearsing the bank robberies.
Oh, that's no good.
Also sounds like something John Moxley would do.
I mean, yeah, that's fair. I mean, was it like a Christian Bale situation where he was standing too close to his microphone?
Standing in
his light. In his light. That's what it was. I thought it was a microphone.
Light.
Are you a complete moron? Okay, dude, calm down.
Crash thinks it's not you. It will be Claudio carrying the watermelon.
Oh man, I just hope we can leave out the super serious part of that movie that no one.
No, we're not that.
We don't need Jerry Orbach and someone playing Jerry Orbach and having to save Penny in this situation.
No, none of that.
Please, can we leave that all out of the story?
That part does not happen in our movie.
That is so super serious for a movie. Like everyone was so mad about the dancing. I'm like, whoa, there's that whole like B plot of that going on.
Right, exactly.
Like that's a little more intense for a little kid, a teenager, a tween.
Right.
Where they were so scared about us seeing sexy moves and dancing. I'm like, there's like a B plot about abortion.
Yeah, which again I did not realize until I was
until you're older because you had no idea.
I used to watch Dirty Dancing so much as a kid. I had no clue that that's what was happening. I had the Dirty Dancing like movie cover. I had that poster on my wall, and I had a Johnny Castle poster on my wall.
Right, because we didn't have the right context for it at the age we were watching it.
No,
and again, like I said, most of the adults in my life, I don't know about yours, but most of the big mad around it with my adults was that they didn't want to see sexy dancing. because they thought we'd get sexy ideas.
I don't think, like, my parents knew I was watching it all the time. I think they just
remember that I grew up in New England. That's where pure.
Yeah, I think everybody's like, oh, they probably just thought, oh, she just thinks they're dancing, and they won't let her. They won't let her, be with, they won't let her dance. They won't let her be with Johnny. They knew that I didn't understand. They knew that I did not realize what else was happening in that movie, and then.
It's like when people would see me reading a book and they'd be like, she's reading. And it'd be like, yeah, I'm reading like Misery and I'm like 12. Whatever. At least she's reading. Yeah.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, I'm reading the Nuremberg papers. Like, she's like,
Michael says he's seen better ideas from you guys than anything Triple GPT has looked lately in
Triple GPT.
The AI jumped out on Friday with this stupid. I don't even want to get into this whole thing, but
so it's the thing about what we're going to talk about. Is it about the part where they're actually? Oh, okay.
No, I mean we can talk about it. We can. In the words of Trick Williams, let's talk about it.
You're like, no, it's worse. I'm like, awesome, it's WWE. Of course it is.
We're gonna talk about. First of all, I have to put this comment up here too, because Corey said that's why he loves the show, because it's a fun and wacky train.
We're here for you. Choo choo.
So, oh God, I don't want to. I'm trying to get on. Okay. Oh yeah.
So, I don't wanna.
Before we move, switch topics. Nikki says she didn't watch Dirty. Yeah, Nikki was younger. Nikki is 4.5 years younger than me. So when I was watching Dirty Dancing, she was not watching Dirty Dancing. She said so. She didn't see Dirty Dancing until like 8 months before Patrick died. My aunt and uncle had the soundtrack on record, so I knew all the songs, banger songs. Like, I love that
soundtrack. That's another soundtrack.
That soundtrack is so good.
It's so weird how many soundtracks my family or my sister and I ended up with from all kinds of stuff. And it's so weird because, like, if you were into Disney soundtracks all the way back to cassette tapes, like we were. So, like, when Little Mermaid and Beauty and the Beast came out, they not only had the big songs from the show or the movie, they also had, like, all the little songs from, like, the interludes and, like, at the parties. And
yeah.
So one year, my sister and I, when we were waiting for my parents, they would not get up. So for Christmas morning. And so we took one of those tracks from, I think it was Beauty and the Beast, made up a song, recorded it on her little Min-Max like tape recorder that every kid had that time of their life.
Yeah.
And then we turned it all the way up and put it as far down the stairs as we were allowed to go. And turned it all up and like played this whole song we had like made up for my parents to wake them up. And her bedroom was over their bedroom.
Oh God.
So we were dancing to it.
Fantastic.
So I'll never forget some of those soundtracks just because it was like my sister and I used to make up songs and piss my parents to troll my parents.
Fantastic. I think I do remember this. Johnny said Nigel once said no one puts Bailey in a corner during a speedball match.
Oh, that's funny.
I missed it, but it may have been, and somebody said it may have been on my AEW feed and not the HBO feed, but apparently Taz called speedball on Wednesday, called him Taekwondo Jones. And I missed that, so they were like, it may have been on the my AEW feed, not the HBO.
Man, Taz is the greatest. He really is.
Oh God. Crash has the best idea I've ever heard in my life. That the time of your life should be the soundtrack to the next.
That would be amazing.
You have to have watermelons.
Definitely.
As a weapon in that match.
Yeah. And someone needs to do a lift with somebody just for schnitz and giggle. Just to be a funny move. You could do like a lift and then just like power bomb them or something.
Oh my God, yeah. Taz is so funny. He cracks me up.
Taz, man, love that guy. EC Dub.
Okay, so I guess Now the
All right.
the
We've done our
less fun
best,
stuff
but
is
we'll have to
coming.
get to this. You're going to have
So
to tell me
so first, do you want me to tell you
what dumb shit is WWE up to now?
There's a lot to choose from the last week. So Monday, apparently, there was a town hall meeting with TKO and WWE staff, and somebody recorded the audio. And in the audio, they talked about how important that AI is to WWE. As far as most of it is analytics, data type stuff, which is interesting because it feeds you back. Like, it feeds you back what you already know. Anyway, so there was that. Then there was the tiny little quote from Nick Khan, where he says that Triple H has used AI for storylines. But that's all he said. He didn't specify, is this an ongoing thing? Is it for every story? How often are they doing this? None of that was specified. So I was writing an article about it, and we knew from way back last fall, Dave Meltzer said WWE is using AI. And people were saying, no, that's not true. And Dave was like, so when that came out the other day, he was like, I told you so.
That's one of the times when I would actually believe Dave on
and
like
so
100%.
He even said, so he kind of specified and said that yes, they have used AI before, but it was basically unusable garbage. There's no way they can do it. They apparently are still working on it, working with it, kind of seeing like, but it's not apparently been at a point where they can actually integrate it into storylines because you have to edit it so much. And he said AI may get to the point where yes, it's giving out correct information and you could do it. But then he pointed out that like, if the match has bad structure, like that's not AI's fault. That's the people who agent the match's fault. So, which is true. But then he said, so, as of right now, but then he was talking about how you don't need AI to give you data because you already have it. And they were saying something about how like what took them 90 minutes now takes them like just a few minutes to get this information. And they use it to figure out who's hot and who's not and like who gets reactions. And I'm like, you don't need AI to figure that out for you.
That's analytics. Any analytics company with a CRM involved, like my company has that. Like I can do that right now for all my incoming calls and all the people
right.
And they get 100 more, like because shareholders and ratings and all the things that they get for data. Like that's dumb.
Yes. It is very dumb. So.
And it's one thing if you're feeding, like, let's say that I write something and I say, okay, ChatGPT, can you just check this over for errors, like phrasing errors, spelling errors, and story inconsistencies, for example.
Right.
That's, to me, seems like at this point, I think whether we like it or not, and as bad for the environment as it is, the fact of the matter is that every single company is moving towards AI because if they aren't moving towards AI, they're falling behind their competition.
But there's a difference in using AI for beneficial things and then using generative AI to put out shitty graphics and
that's my point entirely is like if I'm feeding it in there to be like, are there story inconsistencies, are there spelling errors, are there phrasing errors, and it's spitting it back at me and saying, yeah, you have this guy here and here at this 2 different times, and then I can go back in there and revise my document that I created. That's like a healthy way to use that platform. What I find and what I know people are doing, because I know people are doing this, is they're making shitty images and they're making shitty graphic design. And now it sounds like they're making shitty stories. And WWE wasn't a great storytelling company to begin with. No. So if you're feeding WWE storylines into an AI bot, having it spit out even shittier stories, that's going to be a problem.
So Friday during SmackDown, well, actually, let me back this up a little bit. The storyline started just before WrestleMania when Trick Williams brought in Little Yachty into the storyline. They were calling Sami Zayn, obviously because he's a ginger, made a joke, called him Gingerbread Man, and for whatever reason that stuck. So then they got a gingerbread costume And I think this was one of the episodes I thankfully did not have to cover.
Thankfully.
I believe Little Yachty came out dressed like the gingerbread man. I believe that's how the costume got introduced to this.
Wow.
So Friday night, mind you, this is the first SmackDown I've watched in 2 weeks because I was not on, because I was doing live coverage. I thankfully did not have to watch Raw and SmackDown for 2 weeks. So the first SmackDown I get to see in 2 weeks has this god-awful segment with Sami Zayn, who, poor Sami Zayn, for having to deal with this. So anyway,
gross.
Before it goes on commercial, you can see people carrying a gingerbread. We could see that it was like they were carrying the gingerbread man costume down to the ring. So Sammy comes out, and it's like basically it's like not necessarily a mannequin, but it essentially was that to make the gingerbread stand up. So he's like cutting this promo, and then he starts attacking the gingerbread contraption, whatever you want to call it. So starts attacking it. It's like ripping off its arms. It's exposed, and you can see like the metal pieces that are like holding this together. He pulls off one of its gumdrops, and he's just like going crazy because he's so angry. And then Trick Williams comes down and like has to like stop him. Then Sammy leaves the ring. Trick throws up the X and makes Medical get in the ring to check on the destroyed gingerbread man. Then they did a backstage segment where Trick is being interviewed outside of the medical room, and a guy comes out and he's wearing like a scrub top and he's wearing a mask, and he just shakes his head to let him know the gingerbread did not make it. And now, this Friday, we're having a funeral for the gingerbread man.
What?
Yeah. And this is why, and as soon as it happened, I messaged my friends in another Slack, and I said, this is an AI ass storyline. You cannot tell me they did not put this into AI. And this is what they spit out.
You know what, Sam? I'm going to say this because I hope that was a robot that wrote that dumb shit and not a human being. Because just you describing it to me sounds like I can't unlisten to that.
Yeah, it is very dumb.
What
like,
are they? What?
We're wasting time with this. Like, Sami Zayn and Trick Williams are two of the best talents they have. Trick Williams is extremely charismatic. He does not need this to help him get over as champion.
Maybe WWE should let AI do their writing.
Carmelo has been in this storyline. He doesn't, like, nobody involved in the storyline needs to be in. Then you have commentary who has to sell this shit on top of it. It is, it was so bad. It was so stupid. And it's interesting because they have Danhausen stuff, which is getting over really well. But I'm a little concerned that they're going to run Danhausen into the ground because
they will.
SmackDown is so bad that the Danhausen part is often one of the highlights. And they realize, okay, fans are liking this. They're chanting, "You are cursed."
But that'll wear out.
Merch is selling like hotcakes. We're just going to put Danhausen on TV as much as possible. This week, I didn't see last week's, but apparently he was on it quite a bit. This week, he was only in a couple of segments. But so, like, you have, like, the Danhausen stuff. Parts of it are dumb, but in a funny way, where this is just completely,
but WWE does that all the time. It's so funny because Bob was, like, telling me, he's like, you know what they're going to do with Danhausen is what they always do, is they're going to do this until they can't do it anymore and wear it out, and then he'll go away. He'll just disappear.
Right. So, like, I'm all for Danhausen getting as much money as he can.
Me too. I absolutely want that man to get paid. It's just a bummer because
he cashes in on it as much as he possibly can.
because they're going to.
I do have a fear that they're going to, and they most likely will run him into the ground, where then people are going to hate him again. And because they hated him the first night that he came, they hated him because they didn't understand what Danhausen was. But now more people are starting to get it, and they enjoy it. But then it's going to get to the point where they overuse it so much, and then he's going to get booed again, and nobody's going to want to have anything to do with him, which is unfortunate because Danhausen's character, what they're doing with him, really thrives in the type of things that they're doing. And it is a very WWE-esque storyline for him, and it works for that character. But yeah, they're definitely going to get to the point where they just run it into the ground.
As they always do.
Gretch said, just saw the headline, WWE's Gingerbread Man saga proves AEW fans don't understand art. He said, this has to be satire, surely.
I also like your grok comment. That popped me. Yeah, right.
Michael says AI. Beep, don't blame this dumb shit on me. Beep up.
Right, exactly right. Seriously, I think the computers and AI are in WWE are be like, don't blame us for this shit. It's not our fault. They inputted the data. We just spat out what they told us.
Yes. That's what I'm saying.
I hope so.
I'm right there with you. Dan,
honestly, that's more than likely what will happen.
The man knows how to make money. I've talked about this before. Back when he was on the Indies and going into ROH, I subscribed to his Patreon. I'm on like the lowest tier that he has, which is like just different videos of things of him. But for the upper tier people, this man constantly is putting out all kinds of different merch for him and for them, and he's got shirts and he's got
he threw a bunch of lucha shows when he was
like
in between
at Halloween
things
he had like for like a few select people in like the upper tier, like I think he did like hand painted pumpkins. Like he does, like he has people who will.
He's in a community, like his wife's community are all a bunch of creators. So it's like, I just know from knowing people, having friends in common with her, that is a super creative group of people. They help design like the floats down at Thanksgiving for.
Oh, awesome.
I mean, that's the kind of people that she would be interactive with. And he's put on city events like at that hall that we'll be going to for our show again. That was the one from last year, that pretty theater. That's the Masonic Hall or the Masonic Temple down in Detroit. It's just a big, giant, old, like, 18 somethings, because it was one of the first big buildings built there. And he even put on lucha events that were crossover music shows while he was doing nothing for anyone, like where he was signed but not really doing anything. And so there were a couple of, we almost went down for one, but it was in the city, he put on a lucha show there. So he's still doing things when he's not even doing things. He's never been inactive.
That's why it's gonna suck when they turn on him, because it's gonna happen, and I'm sure he's well aware of that. Because
he'll make lots of money in the meantime, and then he can go do whatever.
And he still, I mean, WrestleMania weekend, he was one of the top 3 shirt sellers, which is not knowing but when Pro Wrestling Tees was selling his stuff, he was always he was never not in the top 10 merch sellers. He knows he knows what people like. He's found his niche, and he's very good at it. Yep. And so he can do, and he was doing, when he wasn't wrestling when he was signed with AEW, wasn't wrestling, he was doing cons every weekend. People come
putting on shows,
people throw money at that man.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
So good for you. Get over it. Now you're attracting even more fans, so that when you are, whenever he is done with WWE, they're gonna come. A lot of them will come find him.
Or he can just maybe he'll make enough money off of all that, he can bank it, and he can just do indies around here. Where if he's still continuing to live around here and he wants to keep his family and everything, here in the local area, it's exactly. That's funny.
Yeah, he has sold more than Mr. Yeet.
I mean, he's way more. He's more interesting to me, but that's my personal.
Yes, he is. Yeah, because they're running back the Bloodline story,
and he's a local boy, so gotta love those other Michiganders.
Swerve dance. Can you imagine Danhausen doing the swerve dance?
Oh my god, he'd had so much fun with it, though.
Yes, he recreated. There was a picture I had forgotten. So when he was in AEW, he took this picture. They took these pictures with Jade when she was champion. And there's one that he's running out of the shot because she realizes he's in the picture, and they recreated it in WWE. And it was really funny. And because he called her that before the pictures, but he calls her his baddie, but Battie. The number one he calls her his number one baddie, but he's like, but he was basically implied that he's scared of her.
He probably should be. I mean,
yes, he does. He said that Danhausen has the perfect shoot name like Darius Lockhart. Yes, he does have a good shoot name. It's I know his first name is Donovan. What is his last name?
Donovan. I can't remember the last name.
I just blanked on it. It's
It's like Dominic? No, Donovan.
Yeah, it's Donovan. But I was like, it works for him. But yeah, he was smart and trademarked Danhausen. He also trademarked his face paint.
Smart. That's dope.
And
Good
I saw
idea.
the other day, apparently, I don't know. I think this part might be WWE has trademarked it, not Danhausen himself, but they have trademarked Kidhausen and Girlhausen and stuff, and there's so I think those are WWE's trademarks because he has already trademarked his name. Oh. I think he also, if I'm not mistaken, yes, we do love that Danhausen. I think he trademarked that too, and he's trademarked his face paint.
That is super smart. Good for him.
Yeah,
learning from the smart wrestlers.
Yeah. And then also the one bright spot from Friday was Ricky Saints made his main roster debut, and he interrupted Cody, which was great. I was like, oh, Cody asked for this. I know it. I know Cody was like, let me be his first match on the main roster. And he comes out and he cuts the promo was really good because Ricky is great with promos, but it was also the promo of people who you can tell are friends in real life and really good friends because of the things they were saying to each other, and the way they were saying it to each other felt very much like, okay, this was fun. I really enjoyed it. And then they had a pretty solid match. It was non-title. It wasn't, unfortunately, was not a main event match either because they had to have their normal main event DQ stuff happen. So, but they know each other's moves really well. They were like just matching each other with everything that they did. And then Cody cut this. He did a Cody. I mean, not, I was gonna say a Cody cutter, but it wasn't. He tried to do a Cody cutter. Ricky caught it, and then he turned it into a crossroads, but ended up like spiking him into a DDT, and his head kind of hit funny. But he appears to be okay. But otherwise, it was a pretty solid match, and so I really enjoyed that. Everybody in the chat was very excited to see Ricky. But it was funny because somebody on commentary said Ricky Saints. You could hear that they were getting ready to say Ricky Starks and stop themselves. But then Wrestle Purist posted this screenshot, and WWE's YouTube page had up 2 shorts, and in both of them they called him Ricky Starks.
Oops.
The official WWE YouTube page called him.
Good job, guys.
By the wrong name. He's been with them for a year, mind you.
I wonder if the robots took care of that too.
Probably.
Good job, guys.
Yes, the Ricky post. So then I think that was the main thing. And then yesterday decided to change our notes and what we were going to have to add. What I was planning to start out with, and it's not how it's worked out. But so really one very shocking thing happened yesterday. So obviously we were 8 days, as of yesterday, 8 days removed from 23 people being released. Then we got one of the biggest releases that we never thought would happen. And it was announced that New Day have left WWE. They were, there's been some conflicting stories about it, which I'll get to in a second. So just obviously the first thing that came out was Kofi and Xavier are gone. With a few minutes later, we found out that Jeff Cobb and Tongaloa are also gone. It says they are departed. So I don't know if that means they left on their own terms or what. However, Jeff Cobb was there just under a year, and I believe that the same for Tongaloa was close to a year, right around it.
Not even, yeah.
But they are both gone. It comes right at the end of this. So 2 weeks ago, we had that stupid feud. I told you we had the ongoing feud with the Wyatts and MFTs over that stupid lantern. They end the story. Now, 2 weeks ago, those people were wrestling, and all of the Wyatt Six are gone, and now 2 members of the MFTs are gone. And it was very interesting. So, like I said, there's some conflicting information that's going on with New Day. I have here, let me see, I screenshot them so that we can talk about it. So yeah, the first thing is I get a message at 11:15 and it was like, oh my God, New Day is left. And that's all we knew. So then Brian Alvarez apparently had said that New Day, Jeff Cobb, and Tongaloa are among confirmed cuts this morning. Last week, one person told me New Day was cut, but it didn't happen. Turns out the cuts were made over a week ago, but due to things that had to be worked out, the names didn't come out until today. Based on the names I was given, but could not confirm last night, I believe a few more have yet to be announced. One for sure. So it sounds like even more releases and more shocking releases are coming. So then Fightful says, so Fightful and Corey Hayes at Body Slam, because Corey Hayes from Body Slam also reported New Day. They said that they are set to leave the company after a mutually agreed upon release. Fightful Select can confirm there's a wait period on the release expected to be the standard 90 days. Immediate shock through the locker room. Most people believe that they were going to be lifers, especially Kofi. Kofi had been with the WWE for 20 years.
That's wild.
It says, however, that was quickly followed up with numerous cases that nobody is a WWE lifer anymore. I think Orton might be the last one.
Holy crap.
I mean, I think that the way things are going with TKO.
Well, this is like full TKO takeover right here. This is them asserting their dominance over WWE and taking care of business how they see fit. Well, because you don't just start making releases like that after you just. I mean, we all expect WWE to do the shitty releases thing that they always do, but this is like, whoa, this is like corporate level.
Well, and this reminded me, my friend Raphael and other people that I watch that I know that I'm good friends with who watch both wrestling and UFC have basically all confirmed this was the same thing, that TKO did this to UFC.
This is what they do.
They don't care. They care about the bottom line, and that's
correct.
So Kofi can still use the Kofi portion of his name because it's his birth name. However, he likely cannot use Kingston. Xavier Woods is owned by WWE, but he has done a very good job, which I thought Tom Green pointed out. He did very well for himself, making a name as Austin Creed outside of WWE. Up, down, down was obviously he started that first, and then it eventually got moved over. So they were calling him Austin Creed. So when he shows up somewhere else as Austin Creed, people are going to know exactly who that is.
Yeah.
New Day is also owned by WWE. So they will not be that name. They cannot be New Day outside of WWE. Somebody tweeted yesterday and made me laugh very hard that the New Day should change their name to the New Era. Because Triple H always says it's a new era. It's a new era. It's what we do. It's a new era. Somebody said that should be their name.
That's amazing.
Then there was, let's see, Kofi and Creed signed new deals last year that were supposed to take them into 2030. So then it comes out from, I believe, Corey Hayes. TKO asked New Day to restructure their contracts. They said no and asked for their releases on Monday.
Good for them.
Yes.
Go get effed.
Yeah.
You don't get to do that in less than a year after I signed it, because you're trying to. Well, I'm watching you lay off my colleagues while they're trimming the fat so you guys can make bigger bonuses next quarter. eat it. No way.
No,
I don't blame them.
I think they did the right thing.
I do
looked out
too.
for
Once
themselves.
they're
WWE
free and clear,
absolutely-
there's no booking company in the world that isn't going to want them under whatever name.
Right. And New Day, and I've talked about it before, like if the SmackDown tag team division is awful, then Raw's is god awful. Like there's just
They're
less
buddies
than
with
five,
Kenny
there's like
Omega.
hardly any tag teams. When New Day did have the titles last year, they barely defended the titles. I think they defended them maybe 3 times over like a 4 or 5 month period because they don't care about defending titles there. That's not a priority for them. And so then they lose their titles, and I believe it was, if I remember right, it was like a 4-way match. And then they went into this really great thing where they were in mourning and dressing in all black, and Xavier was wearing this really gigantic black hat that covered his face and took up half the screen, and that was really great. And their thing was "Thank God for New Day" was their thing that they started saying was, and yes, thank God for New Day. And then they really weren't using them. They were trying to put them with Grayson Waller, which is a terrible idea. Grayson Waller had no business being anywhere near them. And then Xavier was dealing with, I can't remember now off the top of my head. He had to have some kind of a medical procedure, nothing that like it was, I think if I remember right, it was a fairly routine thing. He was missing TV for a little bit. And then they did like a segment about why he hasn't been on TV. And then they just haven't really used them. They did tease putting Javon Evans with Kofi, and that, if they were going that route, I would have been okay with, because I'm a huge Javon fan. I love Kofi as well. I'm a huge New Day fan, obviously. But yeah, so they weren't really doing anything with him on top of it. So like there was no reason for them to stay, especially once they realized, hey, can you come restructure your contract? Then there has also been another interesting development. BJ responded to someone and was saying that basically nobody is safe in WWE. If you make a lot of money and they want you to restructure your contract, they could come to you. He's like, that includes Roman Reigns. Well, then late last night, it came out that Roman Reigns is no longer scheduled for any shows in June, which seems to imply that they asked him to restructure his contract. I don't know if the two are related, but it appears from the information we have could potentially be related, that they could have potentially asked Roman Reigns to restructure his contract, and he said no.
Can you imagine?
Because what was funny was during the Punk Reigns feud, one of the things that Punk, like, obviously they were using against each other was, you're a part-timer, you're hardly ever here, which is true. Roman Reigns was gone all the time. He'd be gone for months at a time. And so he was like, no, when I win this title, I'm going to be here. Roman Reigns just a few days ago tweeted out like where you can see him coming up on the road. So like literally 2 or 3 days ago. And now it's being reported that he's not doing any June shows. I don't know if there's been any development since then. I saw that late last night. But
that's crazy.
He is scheduled to defend his title at Backlash against Jacob Fatu a week from yesterday. This coming Saturday, he is defending his title, and it'll be his first title defense. Is it possible? And so,
wow,
I don't know now. So, is Jacob Fatu about to win this title? Which I would not be mad at. I love Jacob Fatu. I think he's great.
Is he over with the fans? Do you think?
Yes,
or?
Very over.
I mean, I know he's talented. I'm
the bloodline. They're redoing the bloodline stuff, and then Friday on SmackDown. So Jacob has been on Raw. He came to SmackDown, and they showed him doing some stuff with Royce Keys of all people. But Royce Keys and Jacob Fatu apparently go way back. They've known each other for years, wrestled on the Indies together, known each other for a really long time, and the bloodline attacked him, and then during the main event on Friday, Jacob Fatu got involved. So, and it's obviously the Roman Reigns stuff, but now that we potentially have this situation with Roman Reigns, definitely shakes things up a lot. Again, I don't know if any of that's true. I don't know if Roman being supposedly being pulled off of June shows has anything to do with TKO, asking him to
It's not his
restructure.
health, obviously.
But it certainly could happen because TKO does not care how big you are, how much money you make them. If they're cutting people, and they apparently, from what I heard the other day, there was something that they told them to cut, obviously they tell Paul Levesque, you need to cut X amount of dollars. Figure out who it is. TKO is the one apparently made the phone calls, but it was Paul Levesque and Nick Khan who decided who was getting cut. So it was Paul Levesque and Nick Khan who would have went to New Day and potentially Roman Reigns. TKO is that stupid. They don't care. UFC and WWE are a lot different, and WWE fans will react a lot differently. But TKO, from what I have been told with UFC, when they took over, they were cutting fan favorites left and right and cutting because they cost too much money. And so I could absolutely see them doing something to Roman Reigns. If TKO felt like he makes too much money and is not worth it, I could see them asking him to restructure. And he could have done the same thing as New Day, and they're like, I'm not taking this. I'm leaving. I don't know. Again, I don't know if the two things are related, but from given the information we know about New Day and now Roman Reigns suddenly not being on June shows, it does look questionable. Maybe it has nothing to do with that. Maybe it's something completely different, but just giving the information that we know, it looks like
weird timing.
So I don't know. It'll definitely be interesting to see how this plays out. And Brian Alvarez said he knows of at least one more name that could be leaving, and it's a big name.
Interesting.
Is that Roman Reigns? I don't know. Is it somebody else? Is it Charlotte? There's a ton of really big names, but WWE has done a really bad job of making it seem like they care about their fans. Their ticket prices are out of control. They brought in Pat McAfee. Nobody wanted him involved. The road to WrestleMania was a disaster. It's just they're just constantly. Now we've got
Cena's retirement wasn't such a great deal.
Gingerbread Man. We're releasing Kairi Sane. We're releasing all. Now New Day is gone. So TKO is not in a great place. But if they're saving money, then they're not. They'll get over it. So I don't know what's happening there, but the New Day obviously is a shock. Obviously, the rumor, the only place that's going to be able to pay them WWE money is AEW. There's just TNA cannot afford them.
Yeah, no.
New Japan cannot afford them. AEW is going to be the only place that affords them. And if they left because they were disrespected in their contract, I assume they're going to be trying to sign for similar money.
Right.
Would be my guess. If the 90 if they have to, so the 90 days, the 90 days for the people last week, I think obviously it was like right around the end of July. That would put, New Day would be a week off from that, which would open them up just in time for All In. Or right before. So a lot of people have been fantasy booking a 4-way match at All In, which is Young Bucks versus FTR versus Motor City versus New Day.
Oh my God, that'd be amazing.
Has been in there. A lot of, also it seems like people in AEW, unlike not wanting Malachi back, they do want New Day because MJF tweeted, or he posted something. He posted in his stories, "It's a New Day." Yes, it is. FTR,
they're friends with Kenny Omega. They play video games together.
That's what. Yes, so they could definitely do something. They can do the tag matches with the Bucks, because the Bucks have wanted that. The Bucks, that somebody brought up yesterday, where they made it in their bio that we will face New Day one day and make it. And they've tweeted that before. They being the Elite, I think it was, and New Day both retweeted back from 2019. Let's change the world.
One of my favorite BTs was the one where Kenny and those guys, they were at one of the cons for charity, and he's like, "Okay, you're gonna film me, watch me kick New Day's ass back to the WWE mid card." I was like, "I love you so much." Yes, they were playing. They were like, him and Kofi are playing Fire Pro together. I'm just like, you guys are adorable.
Can do single. They could definitely do a single story with Kofi. With Xavier and with Kenny. Absolutely, that's the match that people want to see. Then if you've got even Motor City coming in, you can do Motor City and New Day. You've got that. There's so many different things that you could do, and then. Somebody tweeted out that he wants them to do that they could do a tag team tournament, like a kind of like a Crockett Cup style thing. And Garrett had actually tweeted yesterday that he's always wanted them to do a Crockett Cup type of tournament, and he said to call it the Shad Khan Cup. But then somebody said that they should do a tournament and call it the Jay Briscoe Memorial Tournament. And do a tag team tournament that way.
I'm into that.
Yeah, so they could definitely, there's a lot that they could do. There's a lot here. Absolutely. I think that because somebody asked I assume that's what they can AEW afford New Day. Yes.
Probably.
They will find a way to make it. They would be dumb to not do that. They could absolutely.
There's a lot up in the air with the merger, but in reality, they have to keep doing business as if they still have their contract, and it's going to be honored to the future for now.
Yeah.
So, why would you not bring popular people in that are going to sell tickets and get butts and seats?
Somebody said that they want them to do a moment like this, and it was the picture of Adam Cole and a picture of Danielson where they both got, because they debuted on the same show, and somebody was like, do this with New Day and Motor City. That's like, yikes. You could do that. Like, I assume they would, if Motor City is coming in, they'll save them for the Detroit shows. However, now that New Day is available, you could potentially push it off a few weeks and have All In
pay-per-view.
The All In would be because All In would be where it would happen. That would be the closest pay-per-view, unless they saved it for All Out. But you could have All In, and you could debut New Day and Motor City the same night. That would be insane. Rob says Motor City, New Day, Young Bucks, and FTR in a ladder match.
Yeah.
Yes, and people have been talking about the 6-star matches that they.
That's crazy.
Like, can you imagine?
Crazy. I can't even imagine that. That's wild. That's like.
And somebody said, amazing. Maria said she doesn't think they have the tag teams. They do, and somebody posted out like what their brackets would be, and it was 5 teams apiece. It was like, I wish I had saved it because it was like. FTR, New Day, Motor City, the Young Bucks, Brodito, Jet Speed, and I'm trying to remember. It was like 2 or 3 other teams. You've got the Hurt Syndicate. I was thinking there was somebody.
I could have a Death Riders.
I wish I had. Yeah, the Death Riders were in there because you could use any combination.
You could have a team, a combo from there.
You can have a combo from them. You can have a combo from the Don Callis family.
You could have a combo from Bang Bang. You could have.
Yeah. They've got the teams, and if you wanted to, you could dip into ROH, and you've got the infantry. You've got Workhorsemen. You have also going back to the main roster. You have Gates of Agony, which I believe was included.
Well, MXM was on yesterday. That's a tag team, right?
I'm sorry. Who did you say?
MXM.
Yes, that is the tag team.
And they've been putting them on a Collision a lot.
You've got Outrunners,
Workhorsemen.
Yeah. So they could, if they wanted to do a tournament and do it well, that's the key.
They could probably pull it off.
They could pull it off. They've got the teams to do it. If that's something that ever,
if
that's something that ever happens, they've got the tag teams to do it. But yeah, there's a lot of people who obviously tweet and dream matches between New Day and on the roster, and both of Austin Creed and Kofi just separately. Yeah, you could use some CMLL tag teams too. Yes, the Rascals were in there too. Michael said,
Yep.
"Get the Rascals in there," and I'm a goner. God, yes, GYV.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Of course. We forget.
I would definitely have GYV in there.
Of course.
You could, yeah. There's definitely combinations that you could make to make that happen. But even still, so going back to, yes, they're in Ring of Honor. They wrestle as a tag team and also as a mixed match, a mixed tag team with Isla Dawn. Is who they wrestle with. They do a bunch of stuff down there. And they kill it down there. They're so good. Oh, you even have Eddie Kingston and Ortiz. They're tagging in ROH. They've tagged several times in ROH down there, and so you've got even that tag team if you wanted to. You could do that. But going back to New Day, and just being gone from WWE is such an insane thing. It's an insane thing that I never would expect to have happened. I have watched Kofi Kingston his entire WWE run. I was a fan of Austin Creed when he was Consequences Creed in TNA. And to see the two of them, and then of course Big E. And when New Day first started and they were the gospel act, and Twitter hated them, but I was like, no, there's something. I like all three of them. Like I didn't know Big E as much because I wasn't watching NXT at the time, because that was right around the time of the network, and I think Big E had just, like, he had just come from NXT, so I didn't know much about him, but I liked what I knew of him. But I loved Kofi and Xavier, and I was like, I'm sold already. And like me and Nikki and like this one guy named Joe, we would be like the only ones ever tweeting anything positive about liking them. And then they finally took off, and then New Day has brought so much joy, and they've made history, and they are one of the most prolific tag teams WWE has ever had. And even a trios, if you including the stuff they were doing with Big E. And it's hard to, like, I guess, I'm sure there are people who can say like better about, what to quantify what they mean to WWE and their fan base. And we've talked about this before, like Kofi Mania is one of the greatest things that ever happened.
I was there for that.
And we knew how that made us feel as fans, but we know how important that was to to Black fans who did not have that representation for a really long time. And we've seen how WWE has treated Black wrestlers and still continues to treat Black wrestlers. But that, and the importance that Kofi Mania had, not only to just wrestling fans in general, but to Black wrestling fans, and to be able to see Kofi do the things that they were doing. And it's way more than TKO will ever admit. New Day not being there is a monumental loss for them. They've already lost Big E, because he obviously he's retired, and he knows that there's probably no way he's ever coming back into the ring again.
Well, he's lucky to be walking around. So
right.
And
he does, like, he has a job with them. Like, he does the pre and post WrestleMania shows. He does at the Hall of Fame induction ceremony. He was one of the correspondents or whatever. Somebody did play a clip that was really interesting, because I didn't watch the induction, but he was talking to CM Punk and AJ Lee, and he was saying something about how how AJ should be in the Hall of Fame, when all is said and done. And then he said, I forget what Punk said, and Big E said, well, he's like, well, he said, because I think Punk said something like, well, you'll still be working here, or something along those lines. And he was like, well, we'll see. I see how things are going. We'll see if they keep me around. Which was a really interesting statement for him to make.
Yeah.
Especially, and not even, this was before cuts came. This was before New Day was asked to restructure their contract, I think. As far as
this has got to be a little bit weird for everybody, because if somebody on that level is just not safe, that has got to be sending a message of terror throughout the entire locker room.
Right.
Who, I mean, the upper echelon, they've largely been immune from all of these horrible things that WWE has done. But now you're like, oh crap, it might be my turn. Like,
I think that sent yesterday with New Day being gone, and even though it ended up being of their own accord because they valued themselves.
Yeah, but they're unwilling to be paid less than they think they're worth, and that's
right.
There's nothing wrong with that.
No, nothing. That's what I'm saying. I think even though knowing that not even New Day, who people assumed were lifers, are not safe.
Right.
That's got to make every single employee there.
Well, if you're not worried as an employee of that company right now, then you're not doing it right.
Right.
At that point. I mean, if it's that level, that's a ginormous message to you to hope that you're not on that list.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, even so, yeah, but I can't, it's hard to imagine WWE without the three of them. And that the tag team, when they do give a shit about tag team wrestling and WWE, like all the matches they've had with the Usos.
Yeah.
And then we were talking about like even, so they did, they just did last year when they did the 10-year anniversary of New Day, and they did the big heel turn, which was great. And then they barely followed up with it, which is what they do. And somebody pointed out, this is just another, they create moments. They don't care about the follow-up, which is true. It's more and more evident every day. But you had the John Cena heel turn that they fumbled horribly. Then you have New Day turning heel, and they didn't follow up with that either. And it was just horribly done because everything is about moments. They want the viral moments. They don't care about the follow through. And this is the stuff that you're going to get now. You're going to get less meaningful things. You're going to get
quick hits,
seemingly AI generated stories with gingerbread men. You're bringing in people like Jelly Roll and Pat McAfee into your company, thinking they're going to bring in more eyeballs, which is a very TKO thing to do. They want people coming in. They think that's going to bring people in. So I don't know that, that's why I say, Randy Orton may be the last lifer. He's been there since 2002. But because I think high up on that list would be Charlotte Flair, but I don't even know that I could see, for the way this company is going, I don't know that Charlotte Flair retires there. I don't know that Bayley retires there. I don't know that Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn retire there. I don't know. And, it's really hard to see anybody, and now even Roman Reigns.
Well, if Roman Reigns is even up for grabs, that's crazy enough.
He could potentially be gone from that company.
Just the idea that they would be asking someone on his level to restructure their contract potentially is a wild thought experiment.
It is.
And
from what I understand,
and we have to if you look at the market, you look at economies, that's what everyone's doing right now. If you're not moving to AI, you're falling behind your competition. It's just true. It's not awesome. It's just the way that the market works. And that shows you how cold-hearted it can get. Because it's all dollars and cents for these guys that are making, the guys at the CFOs and the CEOs and the guys that are making the real cash off of these companies. And they have to justify it to a whole bunch of shareholders too.
Right. And then you have to also look at what happened when they fired R-Truth last year. And the feedback that it got. And he's only back on TV because of the tweets. So people have been trying to do that. But I think now that was one person, granted, going against,
well, and it was early on where they
were people like Monday night. So Monday night during Io's match, or after that match, they were chanting, "We want Kyrie" in the crowd. They tweeted it. I think, though, it's not going to work because
it's not.
I think, there was something that Kyrie had asked for her release, but then Kyrie made it sound like, no, that's not true. She did not ask for her release. But even so, if she did not ask for her release, though, I don't see them bringing her. Any of those people that were just cut, I don't see them having an R-Truth effect where they're going to get brought back.
No.
At least not now. But I don't think we're past that point.
I agree.
Of making the fans happy in any way.
Agree.
And I don't see that was with those 2023 releases. If people chant, we want, I mean, they're clearly not going to bring back New Day because New Day chose to leave on their own accord. I don't, as much as I love Jeff Cobb, people aren't going to be chanting, we want JC Mateo.
No.
Because we don't. We want Jeff Cobb.
Right.
I want Jeff Cobb to, thankfully, I mean, of course, again, I hate to see anyone lose their job. However, what they did to Jeff Cobb is awful. I mean, I'm glad he got the bag. I hope he had a great time being with friends and doing stuff and doing something different. But they absolutely, like, they did nothing with him. They made him wear face paint all the time. It was just, he barely wrestled. They barely used Tongaloa either. Tongaloa, I think, did have an injury at one point, but it was just it was a mess. So, but yeah, Michael said that WWE is not going to renege again. They don't like the way the R-Truth thing made them look. No,
that's probably true too.
Right.
Because most companies won't backtrack like that. They just had to.
Yeah.
And especially now where I think TKO seems to be asserting its dominance here.
That's what I was about to say. They inserted Pat McAfee into the main event picture at their biggest show, or main event title picture at the biggest show of the year, and got horrible backlash, which they don't care about that.
No.
The only reason Pat McAfee is not there is because Pat McAfee said, I'm not doing this. If it was up to TKO, we would still be getting Pat McAfee and Randy Orton versus Cody Rhodes and Jelly Roll at Backlash. If that had happened. TKO does not care about making the fans happy. They care about their bottom line, and that's it. So it is not assuming, again, we could be way off about the Roman Reigns thing. But even not Roman Reigns, they went to New Day, one of the most beloved acts they've got, one of the most talented acts, they've got so many accolades that you can read for both of them as singles wrestlers and together. And they just signed a contract last year that would have kept them there till 2030, and to ask them to restructure, they don't care about if the fans are happy or not.
In this economy, no less.
Right, exactly. I mean,
we need you to take less money in this economy.
Yeah. Why?
I mean, what person can honestly say yes to that deal?
Right.
I mean, I'm sure that TKO went to them knowing that, because that's how that works.
Yeah.
Because those people,
maybe they didn't expect New Day to ask for their releases. I'm sure they were more than happy, because either way
makes it easier on them.
They're cutting their budget. They're one way or another, either New Day is restructuring their deal, and now they don't have to,
they would have had them pay less, or New Day takes themselves off the board, which is what happened in this case.
Right. And now that it has happened with New Day, we could see that happen again. We could see them asking, a Becky Lynch or a Seth Rollins, or
with this market, with the AI situation, no single anybody is important enough that they're unreplaceable.
I mean, could you imagine if, again, we don't know if the Roman Reigns thing is true, but could you imagine if they asked Cody Rhodes to restructure his contract?
Yeah, no, that's not a thing.
But even to me, Cody is not safe.
No,
nobody is.
No, I wouldn't put confidence in anything.
May be a last resort, but I don't think even Cody Rhodes is safe. I think nobody that is employed. Granted, Paul Levesque supposedly has a new contract. Like, even Paul Levesque is probably not safe.
I'm sure that's true.
Like, a McMahon name would have saved you in the past. Being closely associated would have saved you. Not now.
Doesn't matter now.
Doesn't matter.
Especially with there's still ongoing investigation on how Vince used stockholder money potentially to do his dirty crap.
The shareholders trial starts June 8th. And barring anything happening, that trial is scheduled to happen June the 8th.
That's
for the shareholders.
Interesting timing for them to start just
shaving
all their time or things off like that.
Have post WrestleMania cuts. That's been
something
they've done for a really long time. However, it is an interesting picture when you also have Brock Lesnar seemingly retire. They're treating it as he is retired, from what I understand. They're treating it as, I think there were plans in place to have him retired at SummerSlam, but it seems like as of right now, they are treating him. But also, if assuming he's on the contract that he was on before, he was making a ton of money.
Well, and we find out in June also if Janelle Grant's thing is going to arbitration or if they're actually going to make them go to Discovery.
Right. Yeah, so they have until, which we could find out a little bit of information soon. WWE and Vince McMahon have until May 13th to make their argument for why they should go to arbitration. And then in June, which I believe is I can't remember the date off the top of my head.
It's very close to that June 10th date.
It's pretty close.
It's like
to
the 8th or something. I want to say I just saw the date, but I remember it being early June.
Is June 8th, and so the judge will decide around that time. And this is a judge in a completely different case.
Right, two different cases.
This is a completely different thing, but they could potentially decide whether or not Janelle Grant and Vince McMahon and WWE are going to arbitration. And then from there, they'll decide what happens next. So if they decide, no, this is not going to arbitration, this also is going to trial, then and then you have the Ring Boys lawsuit as well. That's also happening.
Well, and if Janelle's case goes through, that it sets a huge precedent for the potential of the Ring Boys to go through, because judges tend to follow each other in that way, because that's how jurisprudence tends to work.
Right.
Like if I'm going to set this precedent, that's largely how people are starting to rule, because that's what the people are asking for, and that's what juries are saying, and that's because again, like people don't realize it, but there's even for all of this stuff, because we knew it when we were talking about it, is there was a grand jury, which means there was a group of 12 people that were there to hand on these indictments and to hand on all these things. That's not just like it doesn't happen in an isolation chamber. That's still jury of your peers level. So
right.
They said go further on both fronts, both the civil and the financial suits that are out in the world.
Right.
And that's a terrible look for TKO if Vince gets popped for something like SEC or FTC or whatever violations.
Right.
Because shareholders will lose their minds right now, because this market is so tight.
Yeah. And so they're cutting all these talents and things like that, which, from
scary.
Yeah, it's very interesting. When you take a step back and look at the entire picture of the
landscape has changed.
Not only is talent losing money, they're cutting people when they're also reporting these, like you've got the report coming out of how much money that, Nick Khan and Mark Shapiro and even Dwayne Johnson are making from being on the board and all of this stuff. And then you see the cuts they're making, how upset they've made a lot of the fans. Their ticket prices are higher than they've ever been. Then you have this lawsuit is getting ready to start. Then you have another potential lawsuit that could maybe not go to arbitration. Like, it's just a really interesting time for that company, to say the least. That's there's a lot happening there. And then so now we have those releases. It sounds like more could be on the way, and potentially at least one more big name may or may not be Roman Reigns. Could be something completely, could be somebody we would never ever expect. I mean, I guess most people would never have expected Roman Reigns before yesterday, but now anything seems possible. But then you have the talent who was released before, the week before. That, like I said, there were 23 people who were released, and so some of them have started using social media for things. And so Joe Gacy has tweeted a few times, like, where will I show up next? And then he tweeted Friday it was just a little teaser video. It was basically like the shaky screen, and it just said 7-8-26, or was it 7-24-26? Now I can't remember. I had the date and I remembered it when I was like, I'm not going to write that down. I remember the date. Believe it's July 24th. I'm almost positive it happened. I'm pretty sure it's July 24th. Regardless, so that's when he is a free agent. Well, then Dexter Lumis went the same day. He released a video on Instagram, and he is sitting and he's like looking at a mirror. He's looking at his hair, and Indy Hartwell walks up, who was his TV wife. She puts her hand on his shoulder and says, "It's time." And she cuts each, because he had like dreads for his character, and so she's cutting them off one by one, and then she hands them to him. And then she helps him shave his beard, and then he continues shaving his beard. The song choice that he used was really great, and that it had the same date pop up for when he is a free agent. And then Motor City handled it in a very Motor City way. So the day after they were released, Alex posted on Instagram, "Has anything interesting happened in the last 24 hours? Anyway, we're playing this show. Our band is playing this show," because he and Chris Sabin have a punk rock band with some other people.
Of course they do.
They had a band with Petey Williams like 20 years ago.
That's hilarious.
Not a surprise that they are still really into music. And so they have a band that's called Grappling with no vowels. It's a GRPPLNG.
Hilarious.
So they've been, because Alex has been, prior to them getting cut, he was sharing video and practice and stuff of them. And so they've already played one show, but they're getting ready to play another one. And then the next day he was like, people keep asking if they can do something. And he was like, what? He was like, I guess something happened. And then he was like, our new EP is coming out. You can pre-order it now, and I think you get 2 free songs now, and then the other 2 will come out later. Then Chris gets on Twitter, because that's the only social media he uses, and he said, "Yeah, we were released. Anyway, my punk band Grappling has a new EP coming out, and here's the link for it." And then that was it. And Alex responded to him and just said, "LOL Josh," which is funny because I don't think I have ever seen Alex call him by his shoot name on the internet before. Wow. But it was great, because I guess he didn't know Chris was tweeting that, because he was like, "Yeah, we're released then. Anyway, our punk band has a new EP coming out." And so, but it's available on Bandcamp, and it's like $4.
Nice.
And I keep forgetting I need to download it on my laptop, because I bought it. But you can't, if you buy it on mobile, Bandcamp's mobile doesn't support something. So I have to download it to my laptop.
Yeah, that's how, yeah.
Yeah, I keep forgetting to do that. So,
I have most of my albums on Bandcamp downloaded because they don't stream well. So
right, and so so they've got that going on. That seems to be what they're talking about. They've got another show coming up. They did just announce. I saw Alex say they are opening sometime this month. They are opening for Teenage Bottle Rocket, which Alex Shelley posts about them all the time. That's one of his favorite bands, and I didn't realize it until he and Chris were doing Q&As on their YouTube page, and he was talking about, they were asking like his favorite band or something like that, and he's talking about Teenage Bottle Rocket, and their logo is similar. The logo he has on his pants that are the skulls is their logo, or is like similar to their logo. So like he was like extremely excited that his band is opening up for one of his favorite bands. So that seems to be their focus now, is because they know they're going to be fine. They know people are going to they're going to be in demand. They can do anything they want. If they wanted to go the Mustafa route, where they just wrestled on the indies and showed up in New Japan and did it that way, like they could do that. I mean, I think they're going to AEW. I think that's what's going to happen, but they're in a place where they can do whatever they want. And then people have been like, come back to TNA. They have literally done everything there is to do in TNA. There is nothing. They did stuff as singles wrestlers. They've won world titles as singles wrestlers. Like, there's literally nothing for them to do at TNA. They've done it all.
Yeah, honestly, the only thing that they haven't done, it would be the newest company.
Yeah.
So
right.
It would make sense.
Yeah.
And they helped get the Bucks started in the business anyway, so it would make a lot more sense. It'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah. Crash says they need to release it on cassette tape so he can blast it in his Trans Am with the windows down, tearing across the highways and byways. Nice. Listen, I could see them doing that. They probably would be. If there was a way for them to do it, I think they would.
Yeah, seriously.
Jordan says Alex Shelley has such a cool look and Jericho-like charisma. I don't think the company has fully tapped into his star power. That's the thing that I have been saying. One of the things I hated the most about them going to WWE is they did not get to show their personalities.
Yeah, they didn't know how to use them. They never were going to.
They are so funny. And sometimes I forget. And I was watching because they made because they released their own coffee
That commercial is so
that,
funny.
That coffee shop I was telling you about in
St. Clair
Woods, and they made a commercial for it, but they posted the outtakes, and they were just cracking each other up, and it was so funny. And I was like, I have missed being able to see their personality, because they not only are they just phenomenal wrestlers, and they've inspired so many tag teams after them, but they're really, really charismatic, and they're really funny. And if they go to AEW, I hope that Tony taps into that and lets them show their personality, because they're both very, very funny people.
Yes.
So I hope they get to do that. But yeah, so we've had a little bit of noise from some of the people who've been released, and I'm sure as we get closer to people being, because if their main roster, for most people, the main roster is 90 days. For NXT, it's 30 days. And so most of them will have some time before they can do anything. Let's see here. We do have, well, there's a couple. I will say the more positive things, so that we towards the end, so we don't have to end on this terrible note. But also on Friday, Rebel, who wrestles for AEW, has been she's been on a health journey for the last couple of years. She announced about 5 months ago, I think it was, that she was diagnosed with lung cancer, but she was still having some issues, and the lung cancer, unfortunately, was not the only thing that she was dealing with. Friday, she released a very, very heartbreaking video to her social media where she announced that she has been diagnosed with ALS. This is ALS Awareness Month, and she it was really hard to watch. And she talks about, that it is terminal. It sounds like she is at the end stages potentially of this, because she said for people to pray for her to have a peaceful passing, which I burst into tears. Like, I was already getting teary listening to that, but that just made me I cried, because I was like, it's terrible in so many levels. And she's so young. She's only 47. Like,
she's my age.
So, and she's dealing, and I had forgotten that she'd been diagnosed with lung cancer. I knew she was having health problems, and I saw something, and I was like, oh, that's right. So she's already dealing with lung cancer. Now she's dealing with this. And then she did say in the video she thanked Tony Khan and AEW. Sounds like they've been supporting her. Hopefully that means financially. She didn't go into details, but she's not been able to work. She did. I mean, before she got, before her, illnesses got worse, she was doing a podcast for a while. I believe it was the former ad-free shows. I believe they're called Ring Classics now. That's the Conrad group of things, but she had a show on there that she was doing, and I think she was doing like watch-alongs and things like that. So even though she wasn't wrestling, like, she's been active in the wrestling space until her health worsened. But it's just awful, and I definitely is sending love to her and sending, just for whatever time she has left, the most peace that she can find, going through that. But it's just a horrible, horrible thing. And there's not a lot of research on it. There is no cure for it. And then in addition to her, we know that Jeff Cannonball, who is a deathmatch wrestler, was also diagnosed. Like, I want to say he was diagnosed 2 years ago, that he has gotten further along in the stages as well. And his wife, Tara, she's already written one book about it, but she, Tara Calloway is her wrestling name. I believe Sam is her real name. But she just released a book on Friday to help explain ALS to children, because they have a young child who I believe is 2.5. So he has only seen his father with these health conditions. And she was saying that at the time she was looking for resources to help younger children understand, and couldn't find anything.
There's very little out there.
Children's book to help explain it. That book just went on sale on Friday.
Awesome.
So even if you don't have littles in your life, but if you have littles in your life, go check out that book. And
there's a lot missing in children's.
Go ahead.
There's a lot missing in children's lit that tackles big problems that we face. So I'm really proud of her for doing that. That's really cool, because that's a great way to honor the person that is dealing with. I mean, it's neurodegenerative. There's no cure. It's unfortunately it starts to shut your body down at a certain and I was grateful that for a long time. I know a lot of people were like, "Oh, the ice bucket thing was so silly." I'm like, no, it wasn't. It actually did its job. It helped people to start get it into their mind that this is something that is out there.
Right.
Most of us people with chronic illness just could wish that it was as popular and and it is exciting and I mean, I hate to be like that, but truly it was one of those times where usually it's like a lot of diseases get the main stage and there's a lot more diseases that are out there.
Yeah, I mean, you can look at it. I mean, breast cancer is obviously one of those where breast cancer.
Well, our boobs are the biggest concern of the universe, so.
But I was like, breast cancer.
But the rest of us forget about it.
And this not to take, clearly, breast health is extremely important. You should be,
of course.
You should be doing monthly breast checks. You should know your history. If you are somebody who runs in your family like I am, get your mammograms early. I started getting mammograms early because my grandmother, my maternal grandmother, had it and lost the breast to it. So I started getting mammograms early. So like, I'm not saying that clearly.
No, absolutely not.
Is really aware, but it is something. It is where we have got an entire month where things are pink washed now.
Right. I mean, corporate culture has taken that over, sadly, and so it's really not. In that case, you get the opposite result where none of the money is going to research anymore. It's going to painting things pink.
Right. And so, like you said, the Ice Bucket Challenge did raise money for research.
And awareness about the disease.
It did get people talking about a disease that they don't know much about, or maybe they know they've heard Lou Gehrig's, they know Lou Gehrig's disease, and they've heard that, and that's the extent of their knowledge. But unfortunately, it's something we have seen more. I mean, we just lost Eric Dane just a couple of months ago to ALS.
You don't get more research if you don't get more awareness.
Right, exactly.
That's it.
And Rebel has said that like she would like, I thought she is trying to raise more awareness by being open about her diagnosis.
That's awesome.
And I know that in Def Cannonball's situation, I do know a portion of the proceeds from the book, I believe, do go to help him, as well as, obviously I think it goes to research as well, but also because they have a GoFundMe that they've had to have because they had to move into a new house that could, because he has to use a wheelchair to get around in his own home, things like that. So they had to move into a home where they had modifications for him, and that obviously costs a lot of money. And so there's a lot of costs that go with this. And so, Rebel obviously is dealing with probably costs of dealing with lung cancer and now this, and it's awful. And then, you even have, forgot where I was going with that statement, but it's just awful. And I'm glad that AEW took a couple of minutes last night. Tony Schiavone and Nigel both spoke about Rebel and what's going on with him. I wish that they had, somebody had made the point that they said, just because she's like, I know I'm being nitpicky, but I wish they had said more about ALS because she has a close family member who is dealing with ALS. And she was like, that would have been a really good moment on a national broadcast. And she was like, and I know I'm being nitpicky. She was like, because the point was they were sending, heartfelt wishes to Rebel, but that could have been, but hopefully AEW, it would be nice to see them. Maybe they'll do something with ALS awareness now. Maybe that's something that, because we've seen them get involved in other things like with mental health and
gun violence.
Like so perhaps maybe,
I mean, they're great.
Yeah, they recommended, they're like, maybe they could do something at Fight for the Fallen for ALS.
There you go.
Maybe you could do a show like that, or maybe they could do like a women's tournament or something related to like women's wrestling that, is in honor of Rebel, or maybe they use, Fight for the Fallen or something like that to raise awareness, which I think would be a really cool thing, because they've done, they've done Fight for the Fallen to raise money for for a lot of really cool things. I mean, they did it last year. They did it for people who were affected by Hurricane Helene in Western North Carolina, which was a really cool thing. They've done it for gun violence. They've done it for, I believe, for domestic violence as well. So I think that doing it for ALS would be a really cool thing if that's something that they, maybe it's not something they can do this year, but even if it's something that they can get to next year, I think that would be a really cool thing. And yes, research is very expensive. And
yeah, but a lot of that is because of the cronyism, and until that's otherwise, that's what sucks about it. Because a lot of those things could be ironed out. Yeah, we should all just they need to turn Medicare on for everybody, and we could take care of a lot of problems.
Yes, definitely. And this is just one more reason why there should be a wrestler.
This goes to not just wrestlers, but this Spirit airline situation over the week last year.
Yep.
If those workers had been unionized, they would not have been able to pull that, because that's the reason that one of the big three could never go out of business in Detroit. Is like, as much as people, and they've taken the teeth out of unions, and they try to poison Americans into thinking that unions are bad for workers, because they aren't bad for workers.
Unions are why you have a weekend.
Unions are the reason that you have all kinds of safety, and they're the reason. And honestly, like, really, when you're arguing against a union, you're arguing against having a voice and an agency in your own workplace, which everybody should have.
Well, you're basically bootlicking for millionaires.
Correct. Well, to even simplify it further, yes, that's the crux of that, is the bootlicking. It's just you're hurting yourself and your family. If there had been a union situation for that didn't allow for that kind of thing, because the workers, you wouldn't be able to just go out of business without the workers being involved in the first place. Right. It's just because it's stupid. And we should have laws against that being allowed anyway, because companies have been doing that on the ground as much in the air, and you shouldn't be able to pin. I could never close my business by pinning something on the window and being like, call this number and get your whatever and F off forever.
Right.
But if I had $1 billion super PAC in Delaware and a bunch of numbers, 7, 8 numbers behind my name, I could do whatever I want. So exactly right.
I did want to make a comment. The Fight for the Fallen was not ever military focused. The first Fight for the Fallen was, if I remember correctly, it was for gun violence that had happened in Jacksonville.
That's what I thought. Yeah,
it was a shooting that happened at a gaming convention, correct? I believe it was a gaming convention that there was an active shooter.
I know they have Parkland down there.
I want to say it was in the Jacksonville area, and they raised money. And the show was to honor them. So the Fight for the Fallen shows have never been about military related things. They were for victims of gun violence. And then they've done, I want to say the one was for domestic violence. And then the one last year they came to, because they did
for the hurricane, because
they did the very first show on Max in Asheville, because Asheville was hit really hard by Hurricane Helene. They're still struggling to get money from FEMA and the government, even all these months later. We're well over 18 months into, well over that. And so FTR and Copeland, who all three live in the Asheville area, went to Tony and was like, can you help? And this is what we're doing. And so that's how they use. So that's what they used Fight for the Fallen for last year. So it is something that they could use that same type of vehicle for. So they were raising, because if I remember right, they were raising awareness to donate blood, because they were really needing, the blood banks were hurting really bad after that shooting happened. So they were using money for that. And I think they were raising money for another foundation. They've raised money. So then last year when they did Fight for the Fallen in Asheville, they were raising money for food banks. I feel like there's something else. So if I remember correctly, none of the Fight for the Fallen shows have been anything military related.
Not to the best of my remembering.
Yeah, unless I am completely forgetting something, which is possible. But if it's,
I just remember the first one being about gun violence, because they were there telling Kenny not to do his goodnight bang thing. On
Yes,
that
that's
show.
right. Yes, that he did stop
Because he
doing
almost
that
did it, and then they were like, him and Cody had it in there, and they were like, oh yeah, right, and he didn't do it.
Yeah.
Because they were
And
heads up about it, and they were good souls, and went, oh shoot, you can't be doing that here. So
yes. But yeah, so that is definitely, hopefully that's something that they could look into potentially doing at some point.
We wanted to do something good for the military. We'd end all the wars and fix the VA.
Yes. And then, and before we move on, because I was going to say I want to end on a positive note, I do want to say, because we talked about at the end of last week's show, we talked about Mark Izzard, who was the WWE fan who was missing, and then we found out later that night, or maybe it was the next day, I think it was later that night, they did confirm that Mark Izzard had passed away. They had his family. It came out from a newspaper in Las Vegas first, and then his family released a statement and said it was related to underlying medical causes medical issues that he had, and that so they are working to bring his body back home and to also pay for a funeral. So there is a GoFundMe for that, because it is very expensive to fly a body home anyway, but then to fly it across an ocean with gas prices the way that they are, and which affects the fuel, is very expensive. I mean, it's expensive anyway, but now because of the fuel prices, flights are now even more expensive, so that's made that go up. I think they also needed money in place to pay for a funeral for him as well, and I believe that I've seen that any additional money would be donated to charity. I believe is what I have seen. I haven't seen it in a few days, so I don't know where it had gotten. Natty, who he was a fan of and had met before at a book signing, she donated, and then I think Nikki said that Jericho donated, and so
that makes sense. He does a lot
as well. But I was a little surprised that more wrestlers were not donating, because he was there for WWE to see them wrestle. I'm not surprised WWE hasn't, but I thought more wrestlers would be, donating to that. Maybe they will eventually. I'm sure there's a lot going on with their own stuff right now, but it would be nice to see WWE wrestlers donate to getting his body back home, because he was in the US to see them. But it's horrible that he passed being here. Apparently was by himself, doing something he loved. It sounds like his family said he was really into the indie scene where he lived as well. So he was very passionate about wrestling in general. So hopefully they are able to get his body back home safely, as quickly as possible. Yes, I saw that as well, that someone in his family said that at least he was able to enjoy what he loved when he passed. So that is at least one positive to take about it, or to take from it. Yes, Nikki was talking about us. Me and Nikki were there for the first Fight for the Fallen that was in Jacksonville, because it was on her birthday. And so that was a fun event. But yes, and so to hopefully end on a more positive note, one quick thing I did want to bring up is I saw a really interesting stat. So Leon Slater is the X Division champion for TNA, and it was announced a couple of days ago that there's going to be a live Impact on May 14th, and on that live episode, Leon will be defending his title again against Cedric Alexander. But if Leon wins the day after he wins, which would be May 15th, he will break a record and become the longest reigning X Division champion in TNA history. So I was like, that is a pretty impressive thing, especially if you're not paying attention to TNA. It's hard to not know like really cool records. Like Athena just surpassed last week. She was at 1,234 days as champion, because she used the little emoji that says 1, 2, 3, 4 on it.
Nice.
I think Athena's is probably the most well-known record right now, but to see that, and it's really, it is surprising, especially because so many great people have held the TNA title. To realize that he's about to break a record for it is a really cool thing.
That's crazy.
As much as I love Cedric Alexander, and want him to be champion. I would hate for Leon to lose that the day before.
Yeah, that would be a bummer.
Get that close and to lose it a day before.
Yeah.
That would be brutal.
That would not be fun.
It would kind of be on brand for TNA. They need some good PR right now. So let Leon win that. And yes, Persephone is out of survival of the fittest. Tony's explanation is getting missed in the face. However, I obviously don't think that. I think that is a cover for something else. That I'm assuming she had a real injury or something that is keeping her from that match. So they just wrote it into the storyline that she got missed in the face. But I have not heard anything yet. I haven't heard another update to find out exactly what's going on and why they would pull her from that match, because the survival of the fittest. Oh, thank you. Michael knows. See, this is why we need you guys. It's the foot injury. Thank you. Was it a foot injury that happened prior to that match that necessitated them using the mist, or was the foot injury in that match, or do you know? But while we wait for that answer, Survival of the Fittest was happening at Supercard of Honor, which is May 15th. So the day after TNA, you don't have to worry that ROH's pay-per-view will not be airing during your live show. Tony did not do that to you. It will be the day after. Yes, so it'll be it's the first ever women's Survival of the Fittest match. It will be for Athena's title, which in this match she does not have to be pinned to lose her title, which is very interesting. And they've got I'm getting ready to the next episode of ROH that I have to watch is when I already know who's in the match, but the qualifying matches are getting ready to start from where I'm at, or from where I will be. And there's a ton of really talented people. And because she is hurt, Hyann was in a qualifying match and she lost. So now the match will be Hyann versus Zeta Steel, and that winner will replace Persephone in the Survival of the Fittest match. And Michael says that the injury happened during the match. So it sounds like they were already going to do the missed spot anyway, and then now have just made that the reason why she can't compete. Which, sure, that works. Might as well. And that's super unfortunate for Persephone. I hate this, just terrible timing. Not that I thought she was going to win that match, but terrible timing. You must be talking about. So Evil debuted in NXT this week. He, from what I believe Corey Hayes is reporting, Evil wanted to start in NXT. He came in, he handed a t-shirt to Tony D'Angelo, who is the NXT men's champion, I believe. I don't think it's North American. I think he's the NXT champion. And he just had, because the week prior, he was, as I mentioned last week, he was given a box that had a symbol on it. Well, Evil handed him a shirt with the same symbol on it. They said was, "Oh my God, the rumors are true. That's the former IWGP World Heavyweight Champion," which was a wild thing to hear on WWE programming. They did not say his name. We do not know what Evil's name is going to be.
Of course.
And then after
he's going to be Levi.
Yeah. Then after he left, a guy attacked Tony, and Vic did WWE did a not great thing. They said, "Oh my God, is that a fan?" Is how they sold their this new signee that they've got. His name is Will Cruz, as Jordan says. He is a former champion, I want to say in Progress, but he's held title in some other places in the UK. Apparently, he had a tryout, and it was kept very close to the belt to the vest that he had signed. A lot of people did not know he was coming, which is very rare. John Cena tweeted about him, and I think his thing was, I wish I remember his little saying off the top of my head, but the last thing was that he'll body slam your dad, and he looks like he will body slam your dad. But apparently John Cena has met him, has knew who he was, had watched his work before, and is a really big fan of the guy. I'm not familiar with him, but I saw so many positive things about people who were familiar with his work in the UK. And so he does not look like somebody that you would think is a wrestler. But I think that it sounds like I've seen a few clips, and from the clips that I've seen, like, he looks really awesome. So he showed up as well. And I feel like, wasn't there a third debut? I think there was a third one that happened. And let's see. Crash said he will dig into that 30-day non-compete clause with NXT in case it all goes pear-shaped.
Yeah.
That's so funny that you said vile, big man, because I was joking about that the other day because I said it would either be live or vile. And he said, but not Levi.
Levi. My brain just went Levi. So I was like, yeah, he's the jeans guy. Just call him Levi.
Is it true that Lacey Evans is coming back to wrestling? According to the Wrestle Purist tweet the other day, which shout out to them, they said former wrestler and was it autistic denier? Is that what they called her? I think that's what she's an anti-vaxxer. She's an autism denier as well. But yes,
goody, lovely.
Apparently she's coming back to wrestling. Something about she was at WrestleCon and her daughter was like, I guess, is at an age where she can kind of understand, and she wants her daughter to see her wrestle or some shit like that.
I hope her daughter isn't autistic. If she's that mean.
Michael said Meanie will be his new name.
Meanie.
Yeah, somebody.
I'm going to name it That's Bad. That's a bad. But we call him just Bad with 2 D's, like Color Me.
Yeah, somebody was saying that it should be like something like Mr. Malcontent or something like that.
Not good. My name's not good, okay?
When Ricky Saints came to NXT, they didn't say his name either. The fans knew who he was, clearly, right, but they didn't say his name until the following week. And so I assume that's what's happening here with Evil. I think it's leading to a singles match. Maria asked, do we understand what's happening with Sheeta and Stat? Sheeta is trying to pretend she's trying to pretend that she is not a meanie, and that she doesn't. I can't tell if they're making her look guilty in the Toni Storm attack, or if it really will end up being her, or because I do like that they still are kind of making it look like it could be multiple suspects, because even Mino was like, Chris, where were you?
Yeah, where were you?
Said anything, which Chris was not there, and she
haven't told us where you were.
Said anything about it. So I'm glad that they brought that in. So I assume it's eventually going to lead to a singles feud.
That's what I was taking. I mean, it makes sense.
That's where I think they're going with it. I do like this version of Sheeta being mean, and being like the different version of herself. And they need something for Stat to do. Stat still got to figure out.
I think maybe her working with Sheeta is meant for that.
Yeah, she needs to figure out character stuff away from the belt. And then now you've got Harley back in here. They're trying to figure out what to do with Harley now that she's by herself, and apparently nobody wants to be friends with her. Crash said that Sheeta and Chris is turning into a really odd abusive relationship. He said, I don't want to say I like it, but he's kind of digging the turn. Michael said, I love the story between Stat and Sheeta. Chris is finally in a story. Yeah, it feels like she's finally getting something here where she can kind of start putting it all together. And there's no title involved, so that they can like organically let this play out and figure out where this is going, which I like. And I like that Chris is mad that she could have made history, and it's because of Sheeta. And she told Sheeta, because like she's not been, usually she walks away instead of like trying to argue with Sheeta or defend her. So this time she's like, no, it's your fault. I lost, that I didn't make history. It's your fault we're not tag team champions. It's your fault that you don't listen to anything I say. And so I like that she's being able to do that kind of stuff. So it's been enjoyable for me so far.
Mhm.
Oh yeah, Nikki said, yeah, there was a so apparently a name. It was Nox Rising, Rising, something like that. That could potentially be Evil's name, because apparently, I think it was Rising. Wasn't it Rising? It was some video game-esque name.
If it was that, then it was Ryzen.
Yeah, something like that. Was
Mhm.
apparently it was trademarked, and people think that that's who it is because of the Ryzen that name has been used in so many video games for, I guess,
Fighting video games.
Yeah, and so they were thinking that might potentially.
Ryzen.
We don't know where the Nox part is. Nikki says that sounds like they're trying to Americanize him.
Of course they are. It's
Yes.
WWE.
So I guess, yeah, Nikki said, because we were talking about that in our group chat, and I was like, they would eventually just call him Evil Nox, to give him an American sounding name. So yeah, I guess we'll find out.
Why not just call him Bill? Just
Big
pick
Bill.
a name.
So yeah, so I guess we'll find that out on Tuesday. Ish. Maybe we'll find out on Tuesday. Who knows? Maybe they'll drag it out and we don't know what his name is. Let's see. I guess we'll just, since the Nikki said it was a Japanese word. I'm really trying to remember what it was. Crash said, knock knock, who's there? It's the meanie.
The meanie. Jeez Louise.
Yes. I had put another topic on here, but we can save this for later because we didn't know New Day would be leaving, and so I had a topic, but it's not a topic we hit. It'll probably be an evergreen topic, actually, so we can talk about it at some other point, since we have already been here for our normal 3 hours. Oh, Big Man says that he thinks it's because Nox means dark in Latin or something. Okay, I could see that.
It's something silly.
Because he came out in his big black robe, like he always wears, and he looked pretty much just like his New Japan self. Like, which, I mean, if it's working, don't change it.
Yeah.
So, but perhaps, oh yeah, okay. Nikki said that she scrolled and thinks it's like Rajin or Rajin, because it means thunder god. Crash said Raging fire. Take it. Okay, with a cease and desist.
Oh Lord.
Listen, on that other Don Taku show that's happening, the one with Ospreay, is also where Takeshita and Chase Owens is happening. And I love Takeshita, but I do not want to willingly watch a Chase Owens match. So I will probably be skipping that unless I decide I really just want to watch a Takeshita match.
Yeah.
I'll probably be.
Maybe he'll make you forget Chase Owens is in it.
Yeah, he's wrestling himself, apparently.
That's the only way. I mean, he could do it potentially, but because he is Takeshita.
He can wrestle the Invisible Man. I would much rather watch him wrestle Invisible Man. Because I watched Sandman wrestle the Invisible Man during the Collective, so I would much rather see Takeshita wrestle him than Chase fucking Owens.
Yeah, I'm with that. I can't disagree.
Yeah, so that seems like a good place to end.
Right on. All right. So we will be back here next Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern, barring any weirdness, to talk about more wrestling. So we'll see you guys next week.